This podcast is part of the Neverland Network, where faith meets video games, movies, and fun. Find more shows like this at neverlandpodcast.com.
From days long ago, from uncharted regions of the universe, comes a legend.
The dream that came through a million years, that lived on through all the tears.
It came here, the Fandom Nexus.
Fabulous secret powers were revealed to our host as he plugged in his microphone.
I have a podcast!
Here he is, your Spider-Pan, Jeremy.
Hello, yes, I am back again. I know it's been a while. I don't think we'd had a single Fandom Nexus show in the entire month of November. There's reasons for that. We did get a watching movies with my pastor out there. Hopefully y'all got a chance to enjoy that. But this works out pretty good because I think last episode I did say that when we hit episode 500, I would like to have launched season 13 with it. And that's exactly what we've done, because this would be the beginning of season 13, because the first episode of the Fandom Nexus was that first week in December. And it's the first week in December. So here we are, 500 episodes kicking off season 13. And oh my goodness, y'all are not ready for this. You're all not ready for this. Somebody's here that we haven't had here in a long time. And this used to be a regular thing. We're reaching out into the past. And maybe we can do this more often here, because maybe your schedule will fit better with mine now. I don't know. We'll find out when I start a real job again. But Lost Boy Eric is back.
Hey everyone, how's it going?
And boy, I wish you were a little bit louder. You're barely coming over my music. I'm turning down my music a little bit. There we go.
Well, let me try that again. Hey everyone, how's it going?
And okay, we got a cheer for you. Yay! I'm finding a lot of toys over at the place where I record things now. We were kind of playing with some toys, and I was kind of wrecking my my desktop while we were here. But we were here recording the 500th episode. And I'm glad we are, because I feel like I'm coming out of I was in a bit of a stupor in November. I didn't talk about this much on watching movies with my pastor, but the reason why I didn't record anything is you have to have your mind set right. And I'm still kind of coming out of a depression that I had in November when I was let go from my job of 4 years working at KQ2 in St. Joseph, Missouri, which is something I felt like I had built up to in my long time. How this relates is podcasting is what eventually led me to go back to school and go and study radio. And I also was like, I'm good at video too. Maybe I should study video and get my degree in both of that. And so I did. So I've worked in both radio and television, and now I'm downgraded to nothing and trying to get back into radio. But I think I'm going to wind up as a substitute teacher. So because I have the degree, and I've taught Vacation Bible School and I've taught Sunday school. So I'm like, okay, just tap into that. And the regular teacher is going to have all the stuff I need. I just got to mainly make sure that the kids are staying on task, and I've driven a school bus in the hood, so I think I can handle discipline. I hope. So.
Hey, you could take care of it. I did my student teaching in junior high. If I can get through that, you can get through anything.
Plus, I'm weird. I'm
not a teacher though.
Yeah, I'm weird. I'm fun. I have a bunch of toys on my wall, so. I think I can relate. And that's I was even talking to one of the other school districts at a job fair this past week, and I said, one of the things that kind of helped in the bus is building a rapport. And I think because I'm kind of a big 48-year-old kid, I think I could build some rapport with the students. And because I remember when I was a kid, we had some substitute teachers that would come back often, and we always enjoyed having them come in, and we knew them, and we were like, oh, it's Mrs. Such and Such, and so we were happy to see them. So I'm hoping I can get to that level with some of the kids, that they get used to me as a substitute in various districts. And the only thing that's difficult is, what am I going to do during summer break or during the winter break? And the nice thing about this I think leaves some open time where I can still pursue and get my way back into my industry. But I might end up just loving substitute teaching so much, I might just do that the rest of my life. You never know. I just got to make sure, I think the state will allow you to have seasonal unemployment payment. Of course, right now, the unemployment has not paid me a dime, but I did still have a severance package, and they're saying I made too much in the month of November. I was like, no, I didn't really make anything, but I got my severance package. I'm at the end of it, and I need money now, and yeah, the state is being really particular on that. So although while I was at a job fair this week, I did have a lady give me everything to apply for EBT and food stamps or whatever, or SNAP program. And she's like, the time to do this is when you start having to spend your savings to get your necessities. I'm like, that's going to be pretty quick. It's like our next round of bills, because my wife's not getting paid until the end of the month. The next round of bills, I'm going to have to pull out of savings. So I'm like, maybe I should fill that out. So we'll see what happens. But anyways, enough about what's rough about in my life right now. My life has changed significantly over 500 episodes. I mean, because I think when I started, I might have still been working. No, I wasn't at LabCorp, I don't think, at the time. Because LabCorp, I'd worked there for 7 years, but I had about 2010 is when everything went belly up, and the podcast started in like 2013. Oh my goodness, that was a long time ago. Imagine that's 12 years ago. Because now we're starting season 13. My gosh. So yeah, I was out. I think I was working as a courier even at the time, and I had a good 10 years of I've done about every position in the world, and I thought I was really locked in doing the radio and TV. So this came as a blow to be let go when the company merged. Nobody's mad at me or anything. The company merged with another company up in St. Joe because they thought they were stronger together than they were apart. So a lot of people were let go. And so I'm not bitter. They said I could come back, but they have to have an opening for me. So we'll see. Who knows? Maybe I'll be back there one day, but I don't know.
Hey, maybe. I actually went through this experience myself last year. I've been with my company for 20 years. Yikes, and wow. They told me, hey, we absolutely love you. You're doing great, but your department is closing. And so I had the option to reapply for a new position within whatever the new department was going to look like. I took a look at the incoming difficulties that the new team would face, and I said, you know what? I think I will be forcibly retired and accept my retirement package along with severance. And I got a few months of severance. But right at the end of my eligibility period, another department within my company reached out, said, hey, we're hiring. Come on in. Chatted with them. The next day, they told me, hey, we want you here. So I was fortunately able to get to this new department within my company, retaining all of my seniority benefits that I had accrued over the 22 years now. Oh, not quite the same pay, but hey, being paid is better than not being paid. Right. I'll accept that. And I was surprised they put me right at the top of the vacation seniority list. So I've just had my first day after Thanksgiving off. I'm going to have the week of Christmas off this year. So, things in some ways, it's a little bit tougher, but in other ways, blessings have come from areas that I haven't seen. And, even with this new job I've got, I've been picking up some skills that are really benefiting me in other areas of my life that I hadn't considered. And they truly have been blessings from God.
So hopefully that's what I'm looking at. I'm going to be better off by the end of all this.
Exactly.
Could be. And it could be because the substitute teaching seems likely. And maybe I'll just thrive as a substitute teacher and just love doing that. Because I still have this as an outlet, for not having my own show. I'd love to just work morning radio in a country station. Okay, sure. Why not? I could have fun with that. And they wanted a 60-second video when I was applying for it. And so I filmed a 60-second video, and I was supposed to say, well, why would people want to listen to you in the mornings on a country station? I said, well, and I just gestured to my back wall where all these toys are hanging behind me. It's like, I would bring something very different to a country station. And I do not act my age. I do not sound my age. I'm goofy. I'm fun. I usually host panels at Comic-Cons and stuff like that. That'd be something very different and might be just fun for people in the country music scene. So I kind of went with that angle, and who knows? Maybe I'll hear back from that, and that'll be kind of fun. And then I got to just like nod my head and like, oh, so you keep tabs on the country music? I'm just going to bob my head. It's like, does George Jones still living? Because actually, Cameron, that first radio job, part of it was classic rock, and the other side was classic country. And I'd sit there in the classic country station, and it was a lot of music that my dad would listen to when I was a kid. And so I was like, hey, I actually know these songs, and And one thing I learned is, sometimes the song that happened in the classic rock station. I would know the song, but I didn't know who did it because I had access to stuff there. I was like, oh, that's Boston. Oh, I didn't realize that was Foreigner. I thought that Foreigner to me only sounded like I Want to Know What Love Is. That to me was Foreigner. And when you hear their earlier stuff before that, I was like, oh, this is completely different. So I was so happy to see Foreigner at the Thanksgiving Day parade too. I was like, oh, Foreigner. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
doing a
It was
Stranger
good to see
Things
that
thing.
there's,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
That was awesome. I really enjoyed that part there. So, but yeah, that's kind of what's been going on in our life. But that's part of our host chatter. But speaking of what you've been watching and Stranger Things, I did this week sit down. It's like, okay, because to me, it felt like, we're stretching Stranger Things out maybe longer than it needed to. And it's like, I don't know if we need a 5th season. I was kind of surprised by the end of the 4th season where I was like, oh, no, we're going into a season 5. Okay. But I watched it. I still enjoyed it. I really feel like I kind of watched it. And I'm like, that's Harry Potter. Oh, yeah, this is really this whole thing is Silent Hill. And the only other question I would have is how come a bunch of kids can handle something that the military can't? Military fully armed with guns, they're getting wiped out. But a bunch of kids with baseball bats, oh, yeah.
Come on. It's based in the 80s. How many 80s movies have we seen throughout our lives where the kids are the ones who know what's going on, who can take care of the issues, regardless of what the adults around them are saying? Cloak and Dagger, Daryl, the Goonies, come on. We're 80s kids. That's what speaks to us.
You have to turn your brain off and just be entertained. But I did.
Well, there you go. Well,
I don't want to spoil, but there at the end, I did, right when things were about to happen. I don't know if you've watched this, but I did out loud say, you're a wizard, Harry. There's totally a moment. It happens.
Excuse me. Well, seeing as how you use the word wizard, I know one character was referred to, the wizard. I'm only partway into episode 2 of the 5th season right now. So I have seen the attack at the one place and I have seen some of the follow through, but I haven't yet finished that episode. In fact, that's what I was doing last night when I was reminded that we need to get together and record this today. But Stranger Things is on my list. The other thing that I have been watching way too much recently, good old classic Mythbusters.
Oh, cool. Yeah, that's hard to find. I think there's an official channel on YouTube, though, in there that has it.
There is. And I've also been through my Roku device, through my TV. There is a 24/7 Mythbusters channel on there. So I've just been, watching the old episodes that I remember, watching the newer episodes that I've never seen, and I'm just having fun with it.
Yeah. And my wife has actually used that sometimes in her classroom because there'll be like a myth or something they bust that somehow relates because she's doing like zoology and stuff like that. But there's also she's got to do physical science with the freshmen still. And so there's usually a lot of physics involved in some of the stuff, though. So she'll go and look for stuff and just for something fun, like, hey, this is educational and fun to watch. And so she'll do stuff like that. Oh, yeah. You can learn stuff on Mythbusters. There's even stuff that they'll bust a myth and I'll hear somebody reference it. And I was like, actually, you didn't see on Mythbusters. That's totally false. Like, so I remember even like they fired bullets into water to see if they're actually even lethal. They're not really lethal. The water actually slows the bullets down enough. I was like, who knew? So that every time I see that in a movie now, we're like, yeah, you actually could survive that.
Yep.
So, yeah, I feel myself very educated from Mythbusters. And I've even got to see Adam Savage at Planet Comic-Con. Was it this past year or the year before?
Yeah, I saw him in Dallas a year and a half ago at, I don't know if it was a Fan X or some other show, but yeah.
He's a lot of fun.
I took my daughter up, said, yeah, he is. Took my daughter up, said, she's in STEM right now. I'm trying to introduce her to what you guys have been doing. And it was a good little conversation.
Yeah. Still, my favorite panel is always going to be Alan Tudyk, which the audio was shared on this podcast. See, I'm tying it together. Alan Tudyk was still my favorite panel ever. And I've got some close ones because the Alice Cooper panel was fantastic. Also had a fantastic panel. I think it was either this year or last one. We had almost everybody but Ron Howard, but we had Henry Winkler. Some of the other people from Happy Days. I just remember it was like Henry Winkler because Henry Winkler's awesome.
Don Most.
Yeah, we had the red-haired guy, and I can't remember which one it was. That I think that is Donnie Most. Yeah, because he was there, and then who was the other guy from? We didn't get. I would like to have had Ron Howard in there too. We had somebody else. There was 3 actors from Happy Days. It might have been Joni. Oh no, that's been a long time ago. I can't remember if I shared the audio. If I did, I had to censor because Henry Winkler was telling a funny story where he says he doesn't usually use the Fonzie voice because everybody asks for it. but he dropped an F-bomb. I'm talking about where somebody had said something to him. I didn't realize you were that short, and so he turned around and turned Fozzie on him. But yeah, so I've been to a lot of fun. That's part of the fun of doing this podcast is I've, done a lot of things in conventions and got to interview a lot of people, which we're going to hear some of that audio later in the show of people I've interviewed at Planet Comic-Con or also the Kansas City Comic-Con. People I've gotten an interview on the show. It's afforded me to do a lot of different things and get to host some panels that I get to put together, which this year, Planet Comic-Con, I'm hoping to have 3 different panels. I haven't gotten my approval yet, but we're going to have Dan Vietz come back. Anyone who's in the Kansas City area, he's part of the ThankYouWaltDisney.org that's rebuilding the Laugh-O-Gram studio. Might be doing 2 panels with him because there was one year that we talk about all the animators that used to work with Walt and what they went on to do, which it's an amazing list. So if you happen to be in the Kansas City area, come, I think it's late March, like March 27th, or somewhere around that time. Planet Comic-Con, I'm hoping to have 3 different panels, and we're even going to try to do one. I'm calling it Watching Movies with Pop Culture Pastor. For anyone who's familiar with the show, I've talked to pop culture pastors every year for the last couple of years. So they're like middle of Kansas they're from, but they usually come out there. And I haven't gotten to do a panel with them yet. So I thought it'd be kind of fun to combine them with Watching Movies with my pastor that I do with Philip. And we're going to have some fun and discuss stories and different things we've learned from stories. We're not using the word biblical because we don't want Planet Comic-Con to shut us down because you're being biblical. We don't know what they're going to do. So I was like, let's just not push that button. But there may be some Bible quoting because, as I've said a few times before, there's a very well-known Spider-Man line that is pretty much a Bible quote. So, yes, and a lot of different tropes that we get, including as Stranger Things has a chosen one thing that suddenly showed up. That's a trope that gets used a lot, the concept of a chosen one. And a lot of different stuff we're working on. It's going to be a lot of fun, so make sure you come to those panels. But okay, so what have we been playing? Now, I was mentioning before that I'd started Final Fantasy VIII because I was working my way through them all in numerical order, except for 7 I've already played the dickens out of anyway, but I never platinumed it. But I got a platinum on 1 through 6 because of the Pixel Remaster, and I started up on 8, and I kind of got lost. There was this weird maze, which I realized I had to do is step in and get the number off of one thing, and I could have turned on the left, but there's a lot of goodies in there. So I was looking up, so I wanted to make sure what I was doing. And then I realized the whole thing is a big square. And if you just keep turning the same direction, eventually we'll get everything. But I looked through this guide and I was like, there's a lot of stuff I didn't do. So I've decided I'm going to start over on that. But before I got started over, there was this little thing called the Marvel Cosmic Invasion that came out just a few days ago. And I've been waiting for this thing. This is by Dotemu, the people who made the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge, which I loved that. That's so much fun. And so it's basically like that, but with Marvel characters. So I was just getting, I've been having a lot of fun. Although if you've watched any of my live streams on the official Neverland gaming channel found on YouTube, I get to Venom and didn't get trounced.
Oh,
I did a little bit better the second time because I thought, let me go and level up Spider-Man a little bit because to get one of the achievements, you have to beat Venom with Spider-Man. Still couldn't get through it. But I thought, off the stream, I thought, well, let me see what happens if I play on arcade mode and I go online with some people, and it actually let me level up Spider-Man while I was playing on arcade mode. So now he's all maxed out. And I'm like, that's it, Venom, you're going down next time. And I'm hoping, I was hoping today my buddy Philip, Pastor Philip, was going to show up over at my house so we were going to play it, and maybe we'd actually beat Venom on story mode. So we'll see. But I'm having a lot of fun with it. If you enjoyed the Shredder's Revenge game, and you like Marvel characters, even if you just watch the movies, you never read a comic book, you'll still enjoy it. There's going to be a lot of characters you don't know who they are, like Beta Ray Bill. And there's one girl that I'm not familiar with.
Beta Ray Bill
Well, you do, but not everybody who listens to the show is going to know Beta Ray Bill. But he's playable. There's some girl that's part of the Guardians of the Galaxy that she popped up in a Captain Marvel comic like 2003 or something. I'd never heard of her, but she's got a really cool sword. But it is kind of weird that they pulled in some characters that you're not familiar with, because really we would rather have had Thor or Beta Ray Bill. Well, we'd rather have Thor, but Beta Ray Bill's still cool. So I will take that.
Yeah.
And I'd rather have Hulk than She-Hulk, but I do love She-Hulk anyway. Not the series so much, but the character. I've got a lot of She-Hulk comics and I do love her, but so it's nice to have her in there. And they did have some fun with her because She-Hulk is the original fourth wall breaker in Marvel before Deadpool was She-Hulk. And she does realize she's in a video game. Because if she gets knocked out, she's like, I need to level up. She'll make comments. And there's one area that there's a lot of like background cameo characters. And on the Venom level, there's a lot of characters that you might recognize if you're looking in the background that are not participating. But she's like, wow, how many cameos we got in this game? It's like, it's funny because she knows she's in a video game. I love it. It's perfect. I'm thinking at some point, maybe if they add some characters, Deadpool will probably get thrown in, and he'll be able, the conversation with Deadpool and She-Hulk would be fun because both of them can be like, we're in a video game, so there's a lot of, I bet there's going to be more characters added as times goes on because they did that with the Ninja Turtle game. We got Usagi Yojimbo and we got new levels and things added in all the time. So I expect we're just getting started with some of the fun. So, and they might even make a few improvements. There's a few things I think could use a tweak. I did find a glitch.
Like the difficulty of Venom?
Yeah, and I might be alone in this. I hope somebody else struggled with Venom because Venom is tough. And I'd been fighting with Venom so much that when I was playing arcade mode, somebody was playing as Venom, and I kept attacking him. But you can't hit each other, thank goodness. But I would keep getting thrown off. I was like, oh, wait a minute, Venom's on my side. Okay, cool. Because once you beat him, sort of like a Phoenix, Jean Grey, you got a Phoenix version of Jean Grey, you beat her, she becomes on your roster. So you got certain characters you have to fight because they're getting corrupted by something. But the one glitch I hope they get fixed, and you can see this on one of my live streams, my second live stream. I was playing with Wolverine, and suddenly he wasn't hitting anything. Like his contact thing worked. But there's a button you swap out. You have two characters that you choose. I swapped, and suddenly that worked, and then I swapped back to Wolverine, and he was working just fine again. But I found a bug, which I should probably point out to them, but maybe they're aware of it. Maybe that's just happened to other people. But yeah, there's a few things that maybe get tweaked, but still, an awful lot of fun. Definitely recommending it. You playing anything
check
good?
It out.
Yep.
I've just been kind of casually playing lately. I started Cuphead, and I am having a heck of a time on that. But no, I've actually been yeah. I've actually been playing some more board and card games with my family. We just got one called Cover Your Assets, where you've got cards where you're collecting different assets, like maybe it's an expensive car, or it's money in the bank, or it's diamonds. And the way that the game is set up is you can steal the other player's assets. And so, you might end up with a bloody lip. You might not be talking together as a family afterwards, but sometimes those are the best games.
Yeah. Reminds me a little bit. You ever played Pit?
Oh yeah.
That's what, for some reason I was thinking of that one. Yes, because Pit, you're just trying to, Basically, Pit is, for anyone who has never played it, you're trying to corner the market on certain like farm goods, like could be wheat or corn, and each one's worth a different value, but you have to you have to get all of it. All of the cards of that, and you're bidding across the table like I got three, because you're saying 3 cards you're trying to trade for anybody who's got 3 cards. You never know what you're going to get, but you're trying to collect it all. It's fun, but it gets crazy, and you'll drive each other nuts.
Oh yeah.
So that's what that reminds me
of.
You
can always, then level up to the next level, which is Settlers of
Catan. You mean Settlers
Catan?
of Catan?
Yes. Yeah. Where you're not just looking for 3s, you're looking for wood or sheep or grain.
I just realized on my show notes I got the wrong link. I have a YouTube link.
Oh dear.
Yeah. I wonder what link that was. I'm going to look because I got some news things that I do want to talk about a little bit.
Well, if you're looking at that YouTube link, that is a link to your
that is a link to my video
of
Wow. Okay. I just saw that coming up ahead and okay, because I guess we should move on. And if I hit the right button, that should be this one. I hit one of the things that's been traditional on the show is me hitting the wrong button. Like I just
Would
did.
it be a show without that happening?
Right. Because we don't do a trailer park anymore because it sort of dates the show a little bit. Although for a while I was thinking about doing it as an extra feature for Patreon support and everything, but I just haven't gotten around to it. But this is the music for I've still never changed this. It's still news around Neverland. But since we are, and I'm talking over the thing, since we are the Neverland network of podcasts at neverlandpodcast.com, and I have a whole network, it still fits.
This is news from around Neverland.
And I think Eric was actually able to hear that one.
I could barely hear it, but yes, I could still hear it.
Hooray! So, and I usually don't do news so much anymore, but there was a couple things. I did see a quick note that Spaceballs 2 has wrapped filming, which is cool. But also, and I'm going to completely butcher his name, Carrie, because I need it written out for me. I'm going to pull up the article I think I meant to say, but Carrie, who, let me see what I can find here. Carrie Hirayuki Tagawa passed away at 75 years old. And if really that guy, he was in so many different things in the 80s. I think even early 90s. You'd see him pop up. Man in the High Castle. He was in a James Bond movie, which I don't recall. Pearl Harbor, which I never saw. But he had a stroke at age 75 and passed away due to the complications from that stroke. But where he's always going to be remembered most is Shang Tsung in the first Mortal Kombat movie. And to me, the only one worth watching. And I know people will be like, but that new one was so cool. It's like that new one was all right, but it wasn't as much fun, I think, as the old one. I think I took my dad to go see the original Mortal Kombat movie with him, and he was so great, and he was so good at it that they cast him to play Shang Tsung in the games. And I even watching some video, he talks about his journey into Christianity, East Orthodox Christianity, which I think is a step different from Catholicism, I think. I don't know. I'm not entirely sure, but he's as soft-spoken as he could be as a villain, where he has that menace underneath. He was really that soft-spoken in life, too, and it just kind of came out. But he's one of those guys, if you didn't know him by his name, and I butchered his name, I'm sure, but when you see his face, you're like, oh, him. And I remember when he was cast in Mortal Kombat, I was like, oh, yeah, I've seen that guy. He was never like a main character and stuff, but you'd always recognize him. Sort of like in the 80s, you'd always see that one. He's in Big Trouble in Little China even, but he's got I think he's Chinese, but he's got the crazy strung out hair, kind of a bald head and a big mustache. But you would see him in all kinds of 80s action movies as a nameless thug, because he was very skilled. He could fight. He was great, like a stuntman. But like if you saw him, you're like, oh yeah, him. And Carrie, yep. You'd see his face in an 80s movie, but he would always have a great speaking role anyway. But when he popped up as Mortal Kombat, I was like, oh, that guy. And so he's been beloved for generations. And so when I first saw, there was like a video that I was on YouTube early this morning that they were talking about him passing away, but I hadn't heard that channel. And I was like, is this clickbait or did this really happen? I said, I'm going to have to go to Facebook where you find the truth. But no, because Facebook would have like legit like articles from Variety or the Hollywood Reporter and that kind of thing. So that's how I can verify if a celebrity really has passed away. So because usually when you find out they're passed, you're like, no, not him. So, but 75 years old, that's an old bugger. So that's only about 27 years older than me. So and that 27 years doesn't seem that much anymore.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. Excuse me.
What would be your fondest memory of a movie he's been in?
Well, I'm just going through his credits here right now on IMDb and trying to track down something where I can definitely point to and say, yeah, that was him. And, like you said, Big Trouble in Little China. That's probably what I most recognize him from.
Was he in that one too?
Yeah, you're right. He's got that voice as a...
Yeah.
I thought that's what you said earlier.
Oh, no, it was a different guy. I was saying Big Trouble in Little China, but I was kind of comparing him to... There's a guy in Big Trouble in Little China that's kind of a bald guy. He's always had kind of curly hair that would stick out from the sides and had this big, thick mustache.
Yeah.
But he was in a lot of 80s movies too, and Carrie he was a lot like that too. I have to look at his name to be able to try to pronounce it. Cary Hiroyuki Tagawa. And I think I said it pretty good there, time. But
actually, he was in Big Trouble in Little China. He was uncredited.
Oh, see, now I got to watch it again to see if I find him.
There we go. Yeah. But, he's got some, credits here. MacGyver, Star Trek Next Generation, The Last Emperor, Twins, Moonlighting.
The Perfect Weapon. I remember that one. That was, it wasn't a great movie, but there's one I saw. License to Kill. Okay.
But, it's character actors that, bring us back.
Yeah.
We really add that flavor and that spice to these movies and these TV shows.
All right. I'm going to go and I'm jumping into the Big Trouble in Little China. I'm going to see if I can find that dude. Craig Ing. That's one ear. I wonder who that would be. I'm trying to see if somebody who looks like the guy I was thinking of he was like a stunt man. And he was always playing evil thugs back in the 80s. Let's see. We're going down a rabbit hole right now. Let's see if I can find a button that shows the entire cast. All cast and crew. There we go. He'd be a nameless character. Excuse me. Oh, my goodness. I am so sorry.
Actually, it does give us a name for him. Wing Kong Man.
Yeah, for Carrie. It gave him that. But Oh, there he
you're
is.
looking for the other guy now.
Al Leong. He was a wing Kong, but he's kind of a balding, had a high forehead, but he had like really fluffy hair. I'm gonna post a link up. His name is Al Leong. I'm gonna put this in the chat inside of the Riverside that we're using, so you can go and look at the guy and like, yes, that's. Oh, wait, what? Where's the thing? It's not showing up. Oh, the public chat there, or studio chat. Or there we go. Yeah, follow that there link, and you'll look at him and be like, that guy. But he reminds me a lot of Kerry Tagawa because of the fact that you would see him in everything. But this guy, he was in Die Hard. He's played Genghis Khan in Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. I wonder if this actor is still living. But yeah, that guy. He's one of those who says, "Oh my goodness, he was born in St. Louis, Missouri in 1952." How cool is that? He's a local.
There you go.
There we go. But anyways, okay. But I'm talking about a different actor. but I always, those two guys, you would always see them as playing some sort of villain somewhere in the background, or when they needed an Oriental character, I mean, they would find one of these two guys, and you would always recognize seeing them. So you might not know them by name, but then you'd see them, and you're like, oh yeah, that guy. And Mortal Kombat was the one that really, I think, propelled him to where we all like, yeah, that guy. And then he's getting to play a full character, like a main villain. He was so good at it that we all just loved him from that point on and everything he did. So, and it's kind of like Wes Studi. He's another guy who usually plays Native Americans and everything. He was in Last of the Mohicans. Every time you see him pop up, you're like, oh, hey, him. The which one?
Mystery Men.
Yes. He had a great role in Mystery Men, but he always popped up and stuff. And actually, one of the things while I was in college, there was an independent film. We got to edit a scene, and it was an independent film that he had done. And I was so excited to do it. I was like, it's Wes Studi. I love him. So, but yeah, there's those actors that are not like the big names, but you always see them and you recognize them and you just love them because they're just such good character actors. And Kerry was definitely one of those people. So seeing that he had passed away, it kind of broke my heart a little bit this morning. All right, but I want to take a quick moment to tell y'all about Dubby. If you go to neverlandpodcast.com, there's a big logo for Dubby. You'll see it right there, big white letters, or go to w.gg and use the discount code Neverland. If you happen to need a boost of energy because you're playing some video games or trying to listen to this crazy podcast and you don't want the jitters because that might make you nervous, Dubby has drink powders, all kinds of different flavors. You just mix it in with water. You can get drink cups and everything. It's a fantastic little company. Make sure you go in there and check it out. That is Dubby. And find it, once again, the link's at neverlandpodcast.com, the home of the Neverland network of podcasts. There we go. And now I can finally hit...
Oh, I was about to say, there is one more bit of news that came out actually late last night, early this morning. So I don't know how far down this road you want to travel, but Warner Brothers has a new owner.
Yeah, and I've been hearing rumors about this potentially happening. There's been people talking about it on YouTube, and I guess it's finally happened that Netflix, and I couldn't tell if they were just buying the streaming services or if they were buying all of Warner Brothers. It sounds like they bought all of Warner Brothers.
It sounds like that's the case. They've got all of Warner Brothers. So not only are they in charge now of DC, Looney Tunes, we're looking at future film versions of the Wizarding World.
The television series is coming.
Exactly. HBO in and of itself.
Yeah.
That's
Discovery Channel even
catalog. Exactly. So, it'll be interesting to see what happens. I personally, my concern, I don't want to see us lose movie theaters out of a deal like this. That experience of going to a movie, regardless of how expensive it's been getting lately. There's
the
still
prices went up for COVID, and they forgot to put them back down when COVID was over.
Exactly. But there is something special about being in that theater, having that bucket of popcorn, your $15 drink,
right?
Being in an audience who is just fully invested in the film that you're watching.
Yeah.
As crazy as The Last Jedi was, the response of the audience during the scene with the Praetorian Guard was one of those experiences you can only have in a huge audience.
Yeah. And I will admit, there are drawbacks now going to the theaters, because if you go like a Friday night and you have a bunch of teenagers there that really don't care about the movie, they're just messing around. I've had that happen. and nearly ruined a movie going experience for us once. I understand that happens. So that's why I go to the early shows, go to early Saturday morning shows, and that doesn't happen. That's where I've been able to go. That's usually when I go anyway, but that's when I've gone like Fantastic Four, which I actually liked. I was surprised. We haven't done a movie review in a while, but yeah, I actually liked Fantastic Four First Steps. I didn't expect to, but I had fun. They kind of pulled me up, and the first 5 minutes was just like, oh, I feel it in my little Marvel heart. That was really good. So that one and Superman have been my two big movies of this past year. I really enjoyed. So, but I actually have a movie review for now,
my
too.
family just saw Wicked for good. I'm not sure I'm going to go see that.
Yeah, definitely not my thing.
I hate
this deconstruction where they turn the villains into the bad guy, the good guys, and flip it. I hate that. It ticks me off royally. So I'm like, I have no interest in seeing anything Wicked.
Yep. So we've also got Five Nights at Freddy's 2 coming out.
Yeah, which I've heard is not as good as the first one, and I didn't like the first one. So I'm like, I don't care.
Yeah. Well, I've got a 13-year-old who cannot wait for it.
And at least it's PG-13, so, it's not gory, so you can go.
Unlike Demon Slayer, which she also wanted to see.
Oh, yeah, I heard something about him. I've been told I should probably watch that anime, but I haven't gotten around to it. So there's a lot of lists of animes, but Heather's the one who picks the animes we watch around here, so I watch whatever she tells me to. So we watch Spy Family, which I like. And that she's trying to get me into Ranma 1/2, but the idea of Ranma 1/2 is funny, but the execution, I roll my eyes at a lot. But yeah, okay. Anyways.
And I'm just scrolling to make sure that we haven't had any trailers come out in the last hour that we've been chatting here.
Well, there was one trailer that it's not really a trailer for those that are, because we've had, and I've gotten probably a few new listeners from guests that I've had that are from Adventures in Odyssey. They had a big announcement yesterday. Now, everybody who I guess got to go and attend them recording the 1000th episode already knew this was coming, but they had a big kind of a podcast announcement, and not really a trailer, but an Adventures in Odyssey animated film is coming out fall of 2026. And
all right.
It's kind of a prequel. They've showed us a young Wit with his wife, Jenny, which he's going to look like still alive. And they've redesigned all the characters based on the kind of the style they're doing. So all the characters that everybody knows in modern Adventures in Odyssey got a facelift. And I'm actually pretty excited for that. Like an Adventures in Odyssey movie. The only thing that makes me sad is if they get up to the point where they want to have Eugene in it, we don't have Will Ryan anymore. And so, but speaking of Will Ryan, I get a chance to talk to him thanks to Katie Lee. And we're going to share a little bit of that audio. That's one of the great memories I have with this show is because when Will Ryan he was kind of reclusive. He didn't do a lot of interviews. And when he did, and you'll notice this when we play the audio, he doesn't really talk about himself. He was very humble, but he loves to ask you questions because he was very curious and he wanted to know things. And so he asked me questions and turned the tables on me. And we'll get to that in that clip. But yeah, that's the only news that I know of. I wanted to talk about how excited I actually got when they put those photos for The Legend of Zelda out there and got to see the actors in their costumes in New Zealand. I got excited. I looked at that and I said, ooh, this might actually be good. So I'm pretty excited.
No, I just went, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And as long as they don't put the one annoying character in there from the Mask one, Majora's Mask. Put that one guy.
Look. Oh, Tingle.
No, yeah, Tingle. That's the one. Don't put him in there. We can put Navi the fairy in there. I'd be okay with that. And if you choose your fairy queens, please do not put the scary ones from Ocarina of Time. Please don't. I like the ones in the Super Nintendo, the Link to the Past, the fairy princesses that had like the big flowing dresses. That was cool. Let's do that in the movie because we got to have the big fairies.
And personally, I'm a little bit afraid of the fairies that they had in Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, the giant ones that came out of the huge tub things. Yeah. Haven't played Tears of the Kingdom. Probably not gonna because I didn't like Breath of the Wild. Mainly because the weapons breaking. It just bugged me. I don't like my weapons breaking. And I didn't like the Master Sword. When I finally got the Master Sword, it was useless unless you were fighting a Ganon thing. I was like, really? When did this become a thing? I felt betrayed.
Well, speaking of trailers, though, hopefully by this time next week, we'll have our Doomsday trailer. Avengers Doomsday.
Oh, okay. You said Doomsday and my brain was going Superman. I was like, what? Is there something with Doomsday coming? But Avengers Doomsday. Okay.
Yes.
So I don't get to the point where I get excited about Marvel movies anymore, but Fantastic Four showed me that they got something, but I'm still kind of like, and I haven't really watched the last few Marvel series because I'll go back. I'm going to try to watch the new Avengers, I guess we should call it. I forgot what they called it in the theater before they
Thunderbolts.
Thunderbolts. I'll probably go to watch it because, I mean, it didn't look like it was going to be that good. I was kind of iffy, but people said, oh, it's not terrible. But like I've been burned on so much Marvel before. Like, yeah, you guys are tanking it. But Fantastic Four showed me that maybe they can turn this around. So I'm like, well, I don't know. Let's see. Because it feels like the new Avengers might be super bloated, but they had all the different characters they were going to put into it. But we'll see. So, the trailer's going to have to show me something. Because I'm ready to be surprised because Fantastic Four surprised me of how much fun I had on that one, even though I've got Pedro Pascal fatigue, I think, big time. So
all of us do.
Yeah. But you know what? I could get past that. And I still had a great time with that movie. Because like I said, the first 5 minutes of it, when they're kind of giving you some history and we're living in 60s Fantastic Four time, which is like, oh, that little kid in me was going, this is so cool. So, yes, if they can get into that. So if we get a Doomsday trailer and it taps into that feeling again, I'll be in for that. I'm down with that idea.
All right.
Okay. But anyways, I was going to do a quick movie review, which I believe is this button.
Oh, want to see a movie?
Yeah. Any good?
It was bad?
I'm fuzzy on the whole good bad thing.
My eyeballs could have been sucked from their sockets.
I like it a lot. The best movie ever made.
A Fandom Nexus movie review.
Okay, now I didn't go and dig up a lot of information about this movie because it's been out for a long time, and I've been hearing for the longest time that I needed to watch it. And so this morning I was like, I got some because I needed to go pick up some prescriptions, but I had to wait for the pharmacy to open. And I, even with me not working, my wife gets up early to go to work. The cats get all woken up, so the house is in chaos. And so I'm like, okay, I'm getting up. So I decided while I was waiting for the pharmacy to open to watch K-pop Demon Hunters. Finally. And the weird thing is like a lot of like Christian Facebook groups or whatever have been saying like, oh, there's such a Christian message in this movie. And I was like, well, that's nice, but not really. This is based on a lot of Asian style mythology of how demons work. And so I didn't see, some Christian messaging. I mean, I thought there was a kind of a nice feel good thing towards the end. But I got to say, and this doesn't discredit the movie really at all. It's just for my thing. I don't like pop music or K-pop music. I did not enjoy the music. I couldn't even understand half of what they were singing in most of the movie. But I was like, okay, can we stop the music? And I got to say, Sony Animation must think that part of what made the Spider-Man movies that they're making, the animated Spider-Man movies, good was that choppy computer animation. Now, with those Spider-Man ones, I kind of they were trying to make it look like a comic panel had kind of come to life. And even some of the backgrounds kind of led to that and some of the transitions they would do. There was no reason to do it in this one. And I don't like choppy computer animation. I don't even like hand-drawn when it's super choppy. That's why I cannot get into the Avatar cartoon series because the animation is so choppy. I can't. It's painful for me to watch. It just looks bad to me. I'm used to Disney quality animation where it's perfectly smooth and even their television animation is just amazing. It looks good. And so I can't, I just don't like choppy animation. And they did the choppy animation as a purposeful choice. When you do it on a computer, you're choosing to do it because you don't have to do it. And I didn't understand the choice to do that. And so like 4 minutes in, I was tempted to turn it off, but I was like, you know what? Let me get my coffee and some cereal here. And I'm going to eat my hot cocoa flavored Life cereal. And I'm going to just go through it. I will say there was some plot. I'm going to presume because this is such a big thing that you've probably seen this. If not, you might want to put your hands over your ears, la 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 la, and sing a K-pop song to yourself. I found there to be some plot holes. One of them being like, so Rumi, which is one of the few names I could actually catch of a character. Her patterns from being half demon start going up her neck, and suddenly her voice is getting interfered with. Okay, if that's going to be one of the rules of this, how come the demon characters come out and their patterns run up their neck, their heads, everything, but it doesn't affect their voice? I didn't understand. I needed an explanation and nothing seemed feasible. The other thing I thought was it's not a full plot hole, but it says that Rumi is half of a hunter, which would be a human, and a half demon. Now that's an interesting story. How did that happen? Because we see throughout this that the hunters hate demons. So there's a whole story right there of how that must have happened that I would like to have more than just, that's not something you just mentioned happened and then leave it be. It's like, no, wait a minute. that somehow another that lends something to a plot, because that seems important. Like how that I gotta know how that happens now. And
that gives you a reason for a sequel.
I don't know if I'd watch a sequel. I might. I mean, I kind of liked it overall, but overall, some of the stuff they did, I thought Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles did it better. When we're sitting there and the girls are sitting there and they're jamming away on snacks, reminded me of Ninja Turtles. Some of the scenes of the what's barely their fight scenes reminded me of the computer animated Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie, where they would just kind of have, POD or something would be playing, and we'd just be hopping around and seeing all the different turtles fighting just nameless thugs and just like not even struggling. Like, and that it kind of works. I prefer like the original Ninja Turtles from 1990, where you'd cut to different turtles, but there would be almost some story going on with their bit of combat, instead of we're just hopping and we're just slicing through demons, and like nothing, no big deal. And I was like, but it's like, yeah, Ninja Turtles I think would do with that better. It also reminded me of Powerpuff Girls with the Rowdy Rough Boys, because we get a boy band put together that's like, yeah, it's the Rowdy Rough Boys. It instantly jumped in my head. And even with these three girls, because they have, as you do, each one has their specific personality trope, and they're almost one-dimensional, but not quite, which is kind of the Powerpuff Girls, kind of the Ninja Turtles. They have that. This is their particular personality, and you'll have a little bit of variety within that. But they kind of have that going on. But I was still entertained by this. Like I said, I didn't see anything that mirrored any Christianity, but I did I do love a good redemption story. And that when that started kind of coming around, that was coming around, I was like, okay, so I'm saying this is good, and this is definitely worth watching. I didn't like all of it, but I was entertained. This is not the greatest thing since sliced bread that everybody said it was, but it's definitely fun, and I appreciate it, and I enjoyed it. And am I going to recommend it to others? Well, I might say my wife would probably like this. One thing that I thought was weird in the animation is it's very anime style. Even the tears that would suddenly burst down the face, it looks like they're trying to make it look very much like an anime. And in order to do that, they even got like hand-drawn stuff will suddenly pop up on their faces for the facial expression to mirror anime. And I thought that was a little weird. And I was sitting there thinking, you know what? This might have worked if you just did it as an anime instead of computer animating it like this. Just do it hand-drawn would have made it like 10 times better in my book. But overall, yeah, it's worth watching. It's fun. I think you'd enjoy it. And I mean, it didn't really pick up. The story starts getting interesting. Where you're like, oh, I wonder how this is going to go. So you're kind of curious, but I was like, okay, I did notice like I'd pause it to go and, put my dish away or go to the restroom. And I was like, I'm only this far into it. I thought it'd be closer to the end by now. So I did have that where I was like, I'm looking for the end to happen. But once we start getting closer to the end, it did. When business picked up, it really picked up, and it kind of sucked me in again. I was like, okay, now we're getting somewhere. But yeah, I think they could have trimmed it down, but or at least given a little bit more story to Rumi's parents, like how that happened, and maybe a little bit more for their adoptive mother trainer. There seemed to be a bit more story with that we could have done. I think maybe if we'd have put more of that in to kind of keep me invested, maybe it would go longer if you could keep me invested, because you're telling me more bits of story that builds up the characters a little bit. It might have been better, but yeah, I would give this a solid, 2.5 out of 5 stars. Where I think you're going to be entertained, but it's not going to be like, it shouldn't be the end all be all. But if you really like the style of music, you're going to sing along and just have fun with the music, and that's fine. Enjoy the music then. That's great. Just not my style at all. Yeah, and you all can't see Eric doing the Saja Boys shoulder dance.
The shoulders.
Got to do the shoulders.
I'll admit our home has become a K-pop Demon Hunter fan home. With that said, my 13-year-old introduced it to us. We enjoy the music. We listen to it in the car. But the 13-year-old, being 13 years old, has moved on to her next mania, which happens to be the Hunger Games.
So, oh, golly.
But but we've enjoyed watching it. I do think that there's definite themes of redemption that are in there. And yeah, this is based on Korean folklore. Yeah. So, any Christian messages, it's going to be through allusion or through comparison, and not a direct, this is a Christian story. But it's something that we've enjoyed, and I'd probably give it a 3. You're right. It's not the greatest thing ever. And a lot of the elements that you have spoken of that you wish were there, they were there. They were removed for time and pacing issues, but it's definitely material that they can use with any sequels. And from the reaction that it got, there are sequels definitely on the way. In fact, there's a short that's actually all ready to go. I don't know when the date is that they're going to release it, but it is going to be a short that talks about, the history, maybe, the group that Rumi's mother was in, or it's an origin story for their own group. Don't know yet, but that's still to come. But I can see how it's going to be great for some people and not somebody else's cup of tea.
Yeah. But it's still fun.
You're right about the animation. Oh yeah, definitely. The animation style, is great for the Spider-Verse movies.
Mm-hmm.
I really didn't mind it in this film, but I saw the next film that Sony is releasing called Goat. No, please don't continue using it. It's definitely in that movie as well.
Oh, no.
About basketball playing goat.
The idea sounds
who's going to become the greatest of all time.
Yeah.
It could be a fun idea, but I guess what I'm trying to say is, we did find some value in it. We enjoy it. And I'd recommend, giving it a shot if you haven't already seen it.
And especially you had a 13-year-old
that nobody,
that 13-year-old is like target audience. The young preteens that would be into stuff like a boy band. I don't like to call them boy bands. I like to call them groups because they don't play an instrument. They're not a band. But if they'd be into that kind of a thing, perfect target audience. Mm-hmm. They're going to have a ball.
And I'll tell you this. I love Derpy the cat. Derpy the tiger.
Is that what his name was? Yeah. I like the tiger, but I own 3 cats. So, I mean, yeah. You can win me over with a goofy cat that instead of knocking stuff over wants to put things up. That was funny. That's the only thing I actually laughed at. There was a lot of stuff I was like, I see how that's supposed to be funny, but it's not working. But that actually, I did kind of laugh at that because I understood that with the cat, because they knocked stuff over, and this cat was like something got knocked over and it really wanted to straighten it, and it just struggled to do it.
Mm-hmm.
That was fun, but yeah, a lot of the other stuff, the jokes kind of fell flat for me. But it's got a good story, and I kind of got involved with the story. So, and yeah, I think if you got a teenager. Your teenagers are going to love this, especially if they're young teens, about 13. Oh, yeah. That's perfect age for this. Like 10 through 13, maybe even 14 are just probably going to be obsessed, I think, with something like this. So, yeah, I could definitely see a good target audience. And, yeah, we probably will get more because of the success they've had on that because, now they've got to put stuff on multiple channels. And the funny thing with the this merger thing, one of the things we looked at when I was in college, and because we studied a lot of media, you'd be surprised how much these movie studios are owned actually by other things. I mean, if you look at Comcast, how much they actually own, which includes like Universal. But these have changed hands through other media companies. All the major studios are actually owned by separate media companies. So I was not all shocked and appalled like some people have been like, well, this is a monopoly. That's not what a monopoly is. I actually had the same thing with KQ2 merging in with News Press Group up in St. Joe. This is a monopoly. No, they only have stations in one city. A monopoly would have to be everything, owning all media. So, but yeah, when you look at who owns the media and all the different companies you branch to, internet companies owning movie studios, that kind of thing's going on. So, yeah, it's not, I wasn't shocked. It's just the way things go.
Yeah.
It is the way of things, the way of the horse. This is the way.
Yep.
This is the way. Anyways. So, all right. So I guess we've talked this thing to death. So the next thing to move on to, and I wish I had a button for this. Oh, you know what? I bet I can find a button. I got to find my media sound effects. I'm going to hit a random button.
Button. Who's
Okay, I didn't like that button. But 500 episodes. There we go. Riverside has a lot of fun buttons, y'all. So this is the 500th episode at the beginning of the 13th year, and there's been times I'll admit that I've thought, is it time to quit? Is it time to do I still have more ideas? Because over the years, I mean, when I started this thing, I just I think I've told this story many times before. I used to record like on cassette tapes, make little shows for myself. Then Philip and I started passing little tapes back and forth, making little shows later on in life. And so when I discovered podcasts, I was like, this is like what I used to do on a cassette tape. But now I can make something to share with everybody. And I will say, probably when I first started, I was not very good at this. I didn't know how to entertain it. And I was just sharing audio that I'd had. I shared like even a record that I'd found that back, before everybody had a VHS in their house to watch Star Wars. It had, I believe, Roscoe. I can't think of his name. But if you heard his voice, he was a big in the 80s on television, played a lot of different characters and grandfathers, had a great voice. But he's telling the story of Star Wars with clips from the film. And I shared the audio of that record, which probably is a copyright violation that I did that. But I would share different audio, and through the years, but I started out, it was kind of like, this is the place where we just don't grow up. And it was me. It was a bit of nostalgia. It was me trying to be a big kid again. But at the time, I was still amongst the Disney obsessed. I've kind of grown out of that. But so it became kind of a Disney show because Disney was doing everything that I loved at the time. Not everything that they've done here in the last few years I've loved anymore. So I don't get excited when Disney puts out a new film. Although I'm hearing some nice things on Toy Story 5. I'm trying not to get a little excited, but part of me kind of was thinking, maybe, because I like the idea of what they're doing with Toy Story 5 with how electronics are replacing toys. Because I'm like, I think we want to wake up and say, hey, because we were talking about this actually while I was in college, that like kids don't play with toys so much. Now the people buying toys are adults, which is why they're so expensive. Because not that I play with these, I just collect them and I have them on the wall. Ooh, you got some cool Transformers even. But yeah, see, adults are collecting toys and kids aren't playing with them. They're playing with their phone. And I think we've lost something. I'd like to, I know there's kids that live in my neighborhood. I'd like to see a lot more of them out playing outside with each other, playing with toys. And so I think that a movie with that message sounds good. I just want to know how come Woody's back. I don't mind him being back, but I want to know that part of the story. It's like,
oh no.
So I'm kind of excited for the message of that. But, overall, like, compared to where we were, we were basically doing a Disney show with occasional stretches outside of Disney. And I even noticed, like, as listenership grew, when I would do a non-Disney show, some of them didn't download it. I'd put something in the title like, oh, that's not Disney. And that's where I've learned. That's why I like to, some people are still going to be mad, but I call it the cult of Disney. Anything Disney doesn't matter. They'll absorb it and love it. There are people like that in the world that you're not allowed to criticize. I'm glad I'm not really part of that. I'm still can be critical, even though if I love it, and I still love Mickey and everything. But I now, as we've become the Fandom Nexus, I feel more free to cover everything that just makes me feel like a kid again, and it's just fun. And so I've gotten to branch out and do a lot of different things since we go in the Fandom Nexus. But just had a great time. And you were, let's see, how many years were you with me?
Oh, let's see. Some, many, lots.
Yeah, quite a few. And it's funny because we actually work pretty well together because we both have that weird dry sense of humor. And so we were funny together. I'm funnier with you than I am on my own. I can definitely say that because you actually got some really good little liners that you'd pop up with that are just hilarious and you'd crack me up. So we've had a lot of fun doing the show, but I think it was around COVID where it started getting difficult to match scheduling and all this junk. And so I'd like to get back on the schedule.
Quite honestly, I had to be an adult. Work was really crazy with overtime. In fact, even as it is, I'm still doing overtime even with this current job, and I'm on a 4-10 shift most of the time. But currently, the last 2 weeks, it's been 5/8, and I've enjoyed having my afternoons back.
Yeah, so
but
it's the challenge of doing this kind of thing is you want to be able to have co-hosts with you, but you have to have like something regular. And one of the things that kind of changes the show is I used to record all the time on Sundays, but then we entered the Mahomes era. And, instead of casually being a Chiefs fan and watching them lose or, occasionally do okay, suddenly Patrick Mahomes shows up and suddenly, oh, we're in the playoffs. Oh, we're in the Super Bowl. And so now it is Sundays are Chiefs days. So I'm glued to a screen, even though this year has been rough. I'm still watching. So, but yeah, I've turned my my ability to watch a Chiefs game like casually, like, well, let me keep an eye on it, but let me record this show. Now it's like, no, let me do the show some other time. So I've gotten more to a different release schedule. I try to record in the middle of the week, and I've been releasing like on Wednesdays mostly, and trying to get a few other shows in there. But so, I mean, everything has really changed. And if you listen throughout the course of the show, you hear me go through different jobs when I went back to school and all that kind of things. I mean, my life is just complete. I've gotten older. I've got more gray hair in the beard that y'all can't see because I'm not recording the video. Just so much. What would you say like the biggest change in your life has been over the course of the last 12 years? Because this is starting a 13th.
Oh, goodness.
Other than the job out, job in again.
Well, and it's still at the same company. I think the biggest thing has just been the growth that I've experienced over the past 12, 13 years. We've gone from, renting a home to owning a home.
Yeah.
And I know you've been through the same thing.
Yep.
I've got, all of my kids are teenagers and up now. And my oldest is 20 years old. The first time that you and I chatted was following the first Inside Out movie and talking about how, my daughter was about the same age as, I don't even remember the girl's name, but the girl from Inside Out. And
it starts with an R. I
How
almost said Ryan, but that's not right. And it starts with an R.
Yeah.
Yep.
But, she's graduated from high school. My oldest or my middle child, my son, is graduating this year. He's got some, I've taken on additional responsibilities at my church, watching my son as he's preparing to take on some responsibilities himself. And again, my baby's 13 years old, and it's amazing to see how she's changed and how her personality has developed. And, finding myself wondering, have I made good choices? Have I helped raise them right? And have I been the best dad that I can be, especially as we transition into this part of life?
Yeah.
I'm 50 now. I've hit the half century mark. So that's given me some time to reflect and to try and decide, what I want to do. But at the end of the day, I still want to be a kid. Yep. I still enjoy things from my youth. And that is why we are here. We're here to talk about the things that we enjoy, the things that, bring a little smile to our faces and help us connect. Because like I said earlier, we had all those 80s movies, that was a connective tissue for all of us. We've all got our Optimus Prime or our Perceptor or our Cliff Jumper, right here, ready to, go back and remember those old days. Maybe it's not just the action figures, but maybe it's, pulling up to McDonald's and seeing, hey, they've got
they got Stitch
little toys for Disneyland's 70th anniversary. Yeah. I think while we all need to grow up and we all have to, put aside the things of being a child, as Paul would put it, we still need to retain something of that spark of our youth and of our childhood every day as we go forward.
Yeah. Or as I like to put it, grow wise, grow strong, and never grow up. And that's kind of what I did. I didn't grow up. I got wiser and stronger. That's what I did.
There you go.
But I'm not a parent, so I don't really have to grow up. I can be a big man child. So I can get away with it. But yeah, as being a father, you're suddenly a lot more responsible than I am. I mean, I have responsibilities, but it's nice to be able to, have to be responsible for the week, to kick back and enjoy something. And if I'd have had kids, and I'm sure this is what you've done, stuff you'd enjoy with a kid, you're like, oh, let me share this with my kids. They might like it too. And then they get into something.
Oh, yeah.
Like your 13-year-old's gotten into K-pop Demon Hunters and now the Hunger Games. And so you're going to go right along with them to some degree. You might not be a fan of it necessarily, but you're going to have fun with your kid.
Well, I have been able to connect with her really strongly here recently because the other mania she's gotten into, it involves X-Wings. It involves TIE fighters. It involves lightsabers.
Nice.
So, of course, we're talking about Star Trek. No,
yeah,
Star
of course.
Wars.
Captain Kirk was the greatest Jedi ever. Okay.
There we go.
Which William, by the way,
trying to get her.
There we go. William Shatner is coming back to Planet Comic-Con, y'all, in the Kansas City area. Anyway, but yeah, Back to the Future. I saw you just pulled up the DeLorean.
Yep. Just pulled that up. Last year we went to, maybe it's been 2 years ago. No, it was last year. We drove past the Puente Hills Mall, which was the Twin Pines Mall.
Or Lone Pine. depending upon which timeline you're in. They tore down that mall too, didn't they?
Not yet.
Oh, it's
Not
still there.
Yet.
Okay,
it is still there.
Because
it is still there. In fact,
I heard the
there
Circle
were
K from Bill and Ted's is definitely gone though.
Well, the building is still there. It is still a convenience store, but it is not a Circle K.
Oh, it's not. But you can still visit. Okay. If I owned it,
still here in Tempe.
I would lean into the Bill and Ted thing, and it's like, yes, this is a location. We're not Circle K, but I would come up with a name for the store that's somehow or another related to Bill and Ed. Call it the Excellent Convenience Store or something.
And we even spent some time at Waterloo this summer. The water park.
Nice.
Which is right here in Mesa, Arizona.
Ah, perfect. There you go. So yeah, that's actually one of the things that'd be fun to go to. Like, I'm at Waterloo, and then you'd want to have a swimsuit that was like, look like French underwear or something. So
there you go.
See if you could get away with it before they throw you out the park. And then you pretend you don't speak English, so you don't know what they're saying when they're throwing you out of the park. Monsieur,
but I'll tell you, it's
French fries, French toast.
But going back to what we were saying earlier, it is an absolute thrill to be able to share the things from my youth with my kids and to watch them, light up. My son still loves Star Wars. He cannot wait for, Starfighter to come out. We're looking forward to The Mandalorian and Grogu. We're looking forward to whatever else might be out there on the horizon. Thrawn trilogy, please. And, there's still some wonderful stuff out there.
Yeah.
And, as much as we've seen changes to the things that we love over the past 5 years or so, there's still, our memories. There's still the core of what brought us joy, and we can always go back to that.
Yeah, and I've got high hopes for the re-release of Star Wars for an anniversary that we're going to get to see maybe the original cut. I would love to see that out in theaters, the original cut. But I don't know. Disney, I guess. That's the problem is it's like every time I watch a new version of Star Wars, there's something else that they've changed that I'm like, and I will say the special edition, most of the changes, because a lot of them you didn't really notice necessarily, but most of the changes, if you go look of what they did to color grading and maybe fixing a transition stuff, is actually really good for the original special editions, but then they got a little overzealous and started overdoing it. So I kind of like, we just go back to the original cut and maybe just do the color grading and stuff like that. Just make it look really good, but maybe not, if we can find a way to get the Han Solo Jabba the Hutt scene to work a little better, maybe just a different camera angle. Maybe we don't need to see Han Solo step over. Maybe we cut away. We look over Boba Fett and we come back and Han's on the other side of Jabba and we don't have to have an explanation. So we don't do a weird step thing. Just, let's throw an extra shot somewhere. Cause I love having the extra scenes in there. It just looked funny. And we don't need to have Han weirdly sliding over to dodge a shot. Just let him shoot first. He's a scoundrel. That's what he does. Let him shoot first. So, if they want to, do some just a little things for this re-release, but overall keeping to how it was, I'd even love to see some of those never released opening bits where you see Luke running, not Tashi Station. I think it's a different location he goes through.
But he's with Cammy and Wormy. No, he was Wormy.
And talks to Biggs. Because I tell you what, if you put that scene where you see him talking to Biggs at the beginning, because already in the special edition, when you saw him running into Biggs again and they're sharing stories and all this other stuff, that extra scene made it hurt more when Biggs died. Because now you're like, oh, now Biggs meant something. And when you throw that extra scene in the beginning with having them back on Tatooine and everything, when it would come when Biggs would die, you would feel it. And it's like, oh, that's a nice emotional string to pull that Star Wars, thrives on some good emotional strings that they can pull at certain times. Because really, the people who say that Empire Strikes Back is the best one, I've heard it. Cannot think of the actor's name, but he was in the Force Awakens games. Sam Witwer, but he's also voiced Darth Maul.
Oh yeah,
but I've heard him on a podcast talk about it's like what makes the Empire Strikes Back great is Return of the Jedi. Because if you take the context of Return of the Jedi, suddenly you understand why Darth Vader is so much pursuing Luke. He wants his son back, and that's the emotional tug. The emotional tug that you're like, this is a father who wants his son back, and he's willing to turn his son to the dark side to do it. And he's been pursuing it, not because he's already pursuing Luke before the Emperor tells him to do it. But this is why he wants his son back. He realizes I have a son. He learned it at the Death Star. He's like, that's got to have been my son. And so now Empire's like, because he's got a name. He's got Luke Skywalker. Oh, I know that Skywalker name. I used to be a Skywalker, So when you take all the concept of Return of the Jedi and you add that what you know there of the father and son story, it gives a lot of weight to Empire of what Darth Vader's doing, because in a way, Darth Vader is almost like the main character of the original saga, because we're following his story from the prequel on to the originals, and then we don't pay attention to the sequels. But it's a lot of Darth Vader.
Well, the story is the redemption of Darth Vader.
Yes, it's really good. It's like the loss of Darth Vader and then the redemption of Darth Vader. And that's, for those of you that live Empire, you have to admit, part of what makes Empire good is knowing what you learned from Return of the Jedi, that he loves his son, and he will kill the Emperor to save his son. When you kind of add that in, it's like, oh, he's pursuing Luke not to kill him. No, he wants his son back, and he'll turn his son to the dark side if that's what it takes. Which is scary.
Not just his son, but his daughter as well.
Yeah, when we get later, it's like, if you will not be turned, but perhaps she will. Of course, a lot of that, he's saying that he's provoking Luke out, though, too, by doing that. But
yeah,
it's like two things going on, because he's like, maybe I didn't know I had a daughter. Oh, Leia's my daughter. I'd like to get her back, too, then. And then, of course...
Oh, wait, I tortured her.
Yeah. Well, he did cut his son's hand off, too. But, yeah, there's so much... Return of the Jedi, so there's people who don't like Ewoks. I don't understand why. So they'll crap on it for that. But when you have, like, the Luke moment, that's another tug pull when you see Luke, when after cuts Vader's arm off, and he looks at his own metallic hand, he's like, I'm going to become him. It's like, that's the emotional weight of the original trilogy. So, and that's part of, there's been a lot of love towards Star Wars in the last 12 years, now starting the 13th season and 500 episodes. There, I tied it back together. So there, Star Wars is something that definitely has been universal. We've been able to share. I did know, kind of a funny story. There was I think her name is Danielle. I went to college with her. We were both interned with the Kansas City T-Bones before they became the Kansas City Monarchs. It's a minor league baseball team around here. Lots of fun. And I had fun interning over filming their games. But there was some weird conversation where she's like, yeah, I don't like Star Wars. And I had this complete shock to look at my face. And one of my professors looked at me. So like, yeah, Jeremy, there are people like that in the world who don't like Star Wars. It's okay. But I was thinking maybe she didn't, and I said, maybe you need to see the original trilogy before they messed with it. Maybe that would work. But some people just can't, they're not into fantasy or sci-fi, and that's okay. They're just not one of us. But we still love them. That's exactly my excuse. They're not one of us. That's sort of like
as much as they may roll their eyes over Star Wars. Sorry, my wife's in the room with me here. So
I was about to say, the knowing look behind you. I completely understand that for the sake of what I'm going to put on camera that Eric will see and nobody listening to the audio will understand. And I've talked about this many times, trying to get my wife to completely understand Aerith in Final Fantasy VII. And I to some degree, she gets it, because at least at one point when I was showing her some clips, she's like, well, I see why you like her. Now, I don't know what she thought she saw for why you like her. But by the way, speaking of Planet Comic-Con, if we get to do one of our panels, that is going to be a topic I bring up of some of the things we learned from Aerith. And the whole Chosen One concept. And also even the something you sometimes see in movies where the Chosen One is not the main character in that story. So the main protagonist, is what they do is support. And I've got a fun lesson in this, and I'm going to save it for Planet Comic-Con, but this is a conversation I've actually had with Philip. But we can look at it this way. Philip is the pastor. He's got a very important job to do. I run the live stream. I've got an important job to do. I'm not the head guy, but my job is important to support what Philip is doing as the pastor. So consider that in your church or whatever. If you're not the main person, that doesn't mean that what you're doing isn't important and that the main person isn't depending upon you. And so there's been a lot of, and even with kids, and I don't know if your kids have been like this with some of Heather's students, but everything is Sigma and or whatever, and they don't understand it. But there's also talk between like the alpha and the beta male, and they can treat like a beta male as a bad thing. It's like, no, the alpha male is the one who's got to look after everybody because they're at the top. The beta male is the one backing up that alpha to make sure the alpha can do it. They can't do it without the beta, someone who's supporting them. And I was like, and I told Philip one point, it's like, I'm kind of that beta position. I'm one of the people supporting to make sure that you can do what you're doing and not have to worry about the other stuff. So you can be the shepherd of the flock, and I am making sure that you can do it in my own way, running the live stream. So, yeah, kind of a lesson I was planning to go and plan a Comic-Con, but we're going to get into that. But that's like Final Fantasy VII, which I've talked about ridiculously since the remake came out on this podcast. See how that ties together? you're not playing as the chosen one. You're Cloud. You're the main protagonist, but Aerith is the chosen one. And she's the one that's going to save the world.
Well,
and
I was going to say.
Yeah, and the chosen one frequently has to sacrifice
themselves. If you want to bring it around. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Well, but I was going to mention, if you want to bring it all around to where we started, what, an hour and a half ago?
An hour and 14 minutes.
And in fact, recording Little China.
Yes, you're following the sidekick. You're following the sidekick.
Exactly.
I was trying to figure out who would be the chosen one, but no, you don't really have a chosen one type character. You just have like the big hero.
Oh, you've got the Green Eyed Girls.
Yeah, they were chosen, but they're not like the typical chosen one trope where they're the ones to save, because of some special ability they have. You just have this really cool, his friend who is just awesome, which never get to do any other movies because he was cool. But like he didn't have
I'm sure he did.
He didn't have the charisma of Kurt Russell. But he was cool. He was cool.
Who does?
Yeah, who does? And that's even one of the other things. I'm slightly sidetracking, but I swear if they make a movie of John Travolta as Santa Claus, I am so there. I love the ad that kept showing of him during the Thanksgiving parade, him doing the grease lightning with the Santa sled. I loved that commercial. I love John Travolta as Santa. Please give me a movie of that. Please. I love Kurt Russell as Santa as well. Those movies were great. That's something else we've talked to on the podcast. We've gotten to go over like so many great movies, great books, video games, TV shows, toys. I mean, doing this show has gotten, there's still so much to talk about. But I've had guests from other podcasts come on to talk about Mask toys, which now Mask is on a comeback. I haven't gotten to pick up any of the new toys of that, but I don't know where I would put them at this point. But
and it's tied into the Energon universe as well.
Well, of course it is. I
Transformers and G.I. Joe.
Yeah, Transformers. They've crossed that over because they're both Hasbro toys. Oh, and Mask was a Hasbro toy too. Mm-hmm. So you know what? Because we're getting a Mask
Kenner,
movie.
But...
Yeah, Kenner I think made the original because Kenner. But if we get that crossover movie, because we already got Transformers movies, if we can get that crossover with Mask, because the Mask movie apparently is underway, and we get some G.I. Joe movies that are actually follow what G.I. Joe should be, the crossover would be awesome. That would be the greatest movie ever. I'm just imagining
Star Wars.
Yeah. Well, if you find a way to get like all them characters suddenly get thrown into the Star Wars galaxy just for fun, go for it. E.T. crossed over. Come on.
You just have to go to Patton Oswalt's monologue from Parks and Rec about Star Wars and.
I watched one episode. I know I've watched one episode. Yeah, I need to watch that.
Now that is, if you see anything from Parks and Rec, it is Patton Oswalt's monologue on Star Wars because he brings in the Marvel universe.
Nice, because Marvel did print Star Wars comics. It's connected.
That they did.
It's connected. It's all there. Somewhere, and that's the thing with what's great about Lego is you could bring it all together with your own Legos. In fact, here's something I can show you that nobody, because you're only audio. Last Planet Comic-Con, guess what I got as Legos? Ooh. And of course, when I saw them, I had to buy them.
The whole,
everybody but
you from Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah, which there isn't an official set. These are fan made, but you know what? You fan make it, and I will come and buy it. So, and they go really nice. I have a little Jesus figure about the same size as a Lego. And so
everybody needs a little Jesus in their life.
That's right.
Even if it's that size.
Yes, even if it's little, but it's nice to have him here on my desk. So, and the funny thing is, I've been noticing these little Jesus figures are in a lot of YouTubers have these now. If they're Christians, they'll have it somewhere sitting on a shelf behind them, and I'll be like, "Oh, you have a miniature Jesus too." So much.
Well, there's mine.
There's Haley.
No. There's my Jesus.
Oh, you got a painting from my desk. I can see a painting. Yeah. I don't have
of him holding a child.
I don't have any paintings in here.
Oh, and I've got another one over here. There you go. That's not easily viewable, but
see, you have to have something in there. But yeah, so we've had so much fun talking all these different ones. But as I mentioned, I've gotten the chance I've gotten to talk to the people I've gotten to talk to has been amazing. And I don't know if I necessarily have these in any sort of order, but like the very first guest I ever had was Katie Lee. And what's funny about that is I recorded with her on a Friday, and I was trying to get some new software that I could record, and the entire file that I was recording with her corrupted, and I lost it all. I messaged her on Saturday to let her know what happened, and her husband was playing in a Kiss tribute band, which I've met her husband. Her husband's awesome too. I liked meeting him. He was great. But he's played in a Kiss tribute band, and they were playing after a hockey game. So, of course, it was later for me than it was for them, but it's late for them to come back from that and still sit and record and act like we hadn't had this exact same conversation. So she was my very first guest and still one of my favorite guests that I've had. She's been on the show multiple times, and I finally got a chance to meet her in person, and we will hear that audio. That's a 12-minute audio, but I want to hit some of these other ones. Some of my favorite ones, though, let's see. I'm trying to pick what I want to start with, but okay, this is where we have to start. Margaret Carey.
All right, Neverlanders. We're here standing with Margaret Carey, Tinkerbell herself. Hello.
Hello. I'm so happy to meet you. The Neverlanders broadcast.
Yeah, Neverland Podcast.
Podcast.
So it's appropriate. I had to talk to you.
Oh, well, of course. You know, it's so interesting. When I do my research or talk to people, they ask me questions. There are many, many people who spell Neverland for 2 words. But I happen to have the original book by James M. Barrie with me, and he spells it 1 word. And every once in a while he says Never Neverland.
Exactly.
Just every once in a while. So that's your lesson for today, everybody.
And buy a good hardcover. I got a hardcover for about $10 at a Barnes and Noble, if I can speak English. That is a very priced thing. It's a very nice hardcover, so it's worth having. Classic books are always worth reading.
Absolutely, and it's lovely to hold a leather-covered book in your hand. You feel so swell elegant.
It's like, look, I'm reading sophisticated literature now.
That's right.
Even though I've probably been through the book more times on audiobook, I kept checking it out of the library. I used to work in an office.
Oh.
And so I'd listen to it. And
But do you remember that in the book, if people haven't read it, they may not know, that all the Lost Boys were taller than Peter Pan?
Yeah, because they described him about 6 years old.
Yes.
Still has baby teeth.
Yes. And the other thing was that Peter could never figure out what twins were, and he wouldn't let any of the boys tell him, because the rules were that none of them could know things that he didn't know.
Right.
Otherwise, they were out of there. I thought that was so funny.
Yeah, and my wife actually quotes the book at me when I would say, "Oh, look how well I did at this." She'd say, "Oh, the wonderfulness of me," which Peter says that like 10 times throughout the book.
Well, of course, and he's right. Mm-hmm. He's absolutely. We forget that he can be a little bit manipulative.
Yeah.
And I actually, I did over 600 cartoons, voiceovers.
Wow.
Clutch Cargo, The Three Stooges, Space Angel for television. They're still running. And so I speak different dialects and have several different voices.
My goodness.
And so one of the things that I do here at Comic-Con and do at Disneyland when I ask to, is I read from the book actual scenes, and then I do the voice of Wendy, Oh, Peter.
Are you going to do that tomorrow at the panel?
I am.
Oh, I'm okay.
I am.
I'm totally going to be here.
And then Peter's, well, my name is Peter Pan. What do you mean? Yeah, that's all. Just Peter Pan. And then, of course, Tinkerbell. She's a little different than that. Yep. So I do the different voices, and I read the scenes.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes, I have a lovely time. I did that in front of 2 major audiences at the Ronald Reagan Presidential Library.
Oh, my gosh.
If you can believe.
Wow.
I got a standing ovation. But James M. Barrie will always get a standing ovation.
Yeah. Well, it's good stuff. It's good books. I'm still trying to find, because I guess there's a second book, Peter and Wendy, and I never find it anywhere.
It's my understanding that Peter and Wendy was the title that he gave the first book, and then it got changed. However, it's very muddy. At least my deep research. I like Wikipedia. Yes, I like Wikipedia. I'm sorry,
it's
folks.
Not always accurate, but it's
close enough.
Yeah, close enough.
If you get into other research, I mean, they take 4 pages to tell you that he was actually born on the 5th block over on the 3rd house, up on the 2nd floor on the 9th. I mean, you say, I really don't need to know that.
Well, except for Walt Disney, I do have to know that because, he's got one of his childhood homes is actually here on Bellefontaine. I went over there, I took some pictures of it, and I actually hosted a panel at Planet Comic-Con this year. I had some people from the museum in Marceline come down. We talked about his time in Marceline. Have you ever gotten to visit up there in Marceline? Now that I think about it.
No, but they have visited me several times when they've come to town, with the shows, and so I've gotten to know them quite well.
It's a beautiful museum. You got to go sometime.
I missed going on the Carolwood Pacific. That is the railroad that Walt Disney started. That was the name of his railroad in his backyard. And so there is an organization, Roger Brogy, and they piled, anyone can join it. It's just a wonderful idea. But they piled everybody on a train, about 4 years ago, and they went to Marceline on a special coach, and they had a 4th of July party there. And I was doing another show, so I couldn't go.
Actually, just a couple weeks ago, they had some Disney Legends that were like the original Club 55 cast members there. They love having Disney Legends visit. And they'll let you do a program.
There you go.
You can sell some more books.
It really is amazing. Walt Disney is amazing. We were just talking about this project here that I'm backing, which is Thank You, Walt Disney, which to me is so important because, and we were joking about it, but it's true, that Walt Disney changed the world.
He-Man and the Masters of the Universe will be back right after these messages.
At Arizona State University, we've made online education better, smarter, and more personalized so you can go further in your aspiring field.
I decided to pursue medicine once I realized that ASU did have the online program for biological sciences. You're still required to learn the same curriculum. You're still being tested on the same content that anyone would be tested on in person. The comprehensiveness of the program prepared me so well for medical school.
Explore over 350 plus programs at asuonline.asu.edu.
And now back to He-Man and the Masters of the Universe.
Figured I better take an ad break at some point in this. So there's I've gotten to now meet Margaret Carey twice. The funny thing is she does have some sort of a condition where she can't remember faces so good anyway, even though I had a nice long conversation. And even she did a panel that day, which I got to attend, and I recorded that as well. But after the panel, she recognized me and came over to me. It's like, oh, it's hi, Jeremy, and everything. Did you come see the panel too? And everything. And was talking to me. It's like, oh my goodness, it was like the greatest thing. But it's something I would never have gotten to do if not for having run this podcast. So once again, very, very blessed to have gotten to do that and got a signed book and everything. Just fantastic. One of the favorite people I've gotten to meet. One of many people that I've gotten to meet. And now, have you gotten to meet Margaret Carey yet?
I have not had the opportunity or the pleasure, but from everything I've heard and seen, she's just an absolute sweetheart.
Oh, she is. She's the greatest. And I talked to her for over 20 minutes, which I learned when I was trying to edit out and find a nice clip of that. So it was just super special. And you even get to hear me talking about some of the Disney legends I've gotten to see and meet because of things I've learned. Part of when you're doing like a Disney podcast, you have to become an expert. And so I did. I studied and I learned as much as I could, and having Marceline close by, which I don't know if you've gotten a chance. I know you got a chance to come to Kansas City, and I think you've saw the studio and the house, haven't you?
We saw the studio, but not the house. But actually, I've been trying to encourage my wife that we need to take a trip out to Missouri one of these days. There's definitely a few sites there that we want to see. And for me, seeing the house, visiting Marceline, those are definitely at the top of the list.
Yeah. And I think the museum has gone back to being seasonally open. I don't think they're open year round anymore like they were. So aim for, I think they'll probably open around, I want to say April or May. If you go and look at their website, I think that's when they'll have an opening day. But if you guys come to town, you let me know and I will be glad to be a tour guide. I've been up there many times.
Oh, definitely.
I used to be there every year when they would have Toon Fest and everything. And I've even gotten to cover Toon Fest on the podcast and share audio. And I've got videos of parades. Got to talk to a lot of people from Toon Fest. I mean, I've had a lot of fun. That's with them, and now they don't need me anymore. They come on their own to a Planet Comic-Con, and they did a panel without they didn't need me to invite them, and really I guess they don't. But I got to attend it and sit on the other, but they're used to doing panels because they do D23 and all the other kind of stuff. So I was a connection and a gateway, but now they're on their own. But some other people I did not expect to meet. So you might remember back in WWF, I'm going to say, Tugboat and maybe even Typhoon of the natural disasters. And perhaps the Shockmaster, who was wearing a Stormtrooper helmet and fell through the wall. That was Fred Ottman. He's a fantastic guy. I'll follow him on Facebook. Good Christian brother. I got a chance. I did not expect him to be at a convention I was at, but I got a chance to sit with him one time, too.
All right, Neverlanders. Now we're here with Fred Ottman, who you probably know by at least two names that I know you from.
Oh, Tugboat, Typhoon, and the Shockmaster with World Wrestling Federation, and now a legend with WWE, World Wrestling Entertainment.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So how did you get started with wrestling? Was it something you loved in high school?
I wrestled in high school. I wrestled in junior high school. I played I'm like a normal kid. I played football. I also made music. Really? So, you can't go from the field playing music to the football game. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of hard.
Yeah.
But I helped train ball players at the University of Miami. I worked with their strength coach at the University of Miami when I was going to college. And I used to train in another gym also in Coral Gables, Florida. I'm from Miami, Florida, where I'm born, raised. And wrestlers, when they were in town, used to come there and train. And I used to burn my ear all the time about the business. And I said, yeah. They finally wore me down and went to went to a school in Fort Lauderdale that was running on the weekends by a legendary guy named the great Professor Malenko back in the day.
Yeah.
And his son, Dean Malenko, is the man of 1,000 holds.
Yeah.
That was with the mini belt holder with WWF. And his other son, Jody Malenko, another great wrestler, amateur and professional, back in the day.
Did they get you in the ring and stretch you out to see if you really were?
Oh, I went up in there. That's it. That's what I have a school now. I put my guys through the same kind of training. You know what I'm saying? I don't make them cry. I don't break anything. I just let them know it was there.
Yeah. It's like, this is not fake. You will get hurt a little bit. It's planned.
It's like playing football with no pads. That's the best analogy I can give you. You know what I'm saying? But it's entertainment. It's fun. I got this. I saw things, been places. I've been to over 40 countries. I've been to all 48 states. There's a couple here. We don't wrestle in Wyoming. There's only 150,000 people in the whole state, okay? Wow. You know what I'm saying? But nothing against Wyoming. I love them. Yeah. But no wrestling there. But I've been to every little town. My life was wrestling 300 days a year, plus or minus, for over 25 years. So I've seen a lot. I've covered a lot of territory in the day.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Who was your favorite person to work with?
I can't tell you that because my old tag partner was Earthquake. I wrestled with Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan brought me in there when I was wrestling as Tugboat. I had the Undertaker's first match with Paul Bearer. I had his first matches, and I've wrestled with a lot of different guys. I had the opportunity to wrestle with guys I watched on TV as a kid, and plus newer guys that came down the line that were my age, and some of them a lot younger than me. So I can't give you one reason. I get guys ask me all the time, "What's your favorite match? Where's your favorite place?" The whole 9 yards. Right? I love it all, man. I tell people if I had to do it all over again, I would do it all over again. That's how I feel about it. So I mean, it's one of those things. Yeah.
You look like you still could. Look like moving around pretty good.
Oh, I do okay for an old guy. I'm 60 now and I know better. Okay, but I'm at the gym every day. It keeps my mind sharp. Keeps me an easygoing guy, and I love to be in the gym. And plus it gives you a little edge with those young guys that we're trying to train nowadays. Yeah. I mean, we got a lot. We just opened up about 2-3 months ago, and we got a lot of good talent. And I'm trying to produce a place where guys that are working independent wrestling, little companies around, have a place where they can go. There's people that have places they can go to many, many gyms, work out with weights. But guys that want to wrestle or have that in their blood that are existing guys. I want to have a place that's self-sustained, that gives them an opportunity to learn from guys that have been wrestling for years and to be able to have a place where they can hone their craft, whether it be something that they want to make a career out of or something they want to do as a hobby. You know, it's that kind of place. Yeah.
Do you think the more extreme nature of wrestling, whether we need to have more spectacle and more diving off of things, do you think that's going to shorten careers a little bit more than compared to you guys?
They did that back in the Roman days. I don't know how well that worked out. You know, lions, tigers, and bears. You know, oh my.
Yeah.
We'd be throwing the bad people in jail to the tigers and lions. Gladiator. I mean, you got MMA. I mean, you know, wrestling gets wilder and crazier. I mean, what I teach is old school and new school combined. That way, you know, because there's a lot of that old school type wrestling that's missing. And guys that, instead of reading off scripts, they're able to take and, like they're doing nowadays, be able to talk and carry on a conversation and be able to get in front of a microphone like with you and be able to, you know, say what's on their mind and be able to get it across.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there a way you think that you can manage to teach? Because inside the ring, you've got to do some storytelling.
Yes.
Telling a struggle.
That's a very good observation. That's something I have to explain to people.
Yeah, or is that like something either you have or you don't?
Some people get it. Something you have to learn. You know, it's very hard. You have to be able to see somebody in the audience, be able to bring them up out of their seat and then slam them back down in that seat.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Get them involved.
Yeah.
That's the whole idea. I mean, you go to an auditorium, a lot of auditoriums, the lights are on like we're sitting here and they put a ring up. You know, the days in the past, there was a reason why there was a light over the ring and everything was dark around that.
Right.
Because people are apprehensive about showing how they really feel. They don't want to see them screaming at themselves, you know, guys that live in the same neighborhood or something like that. Oh, did you see they acted a fool at that matches the other day? Or they're sitting on their hands because they're afraid to show their emotion. I mean, it's an interactive experience.
Yes.
It's one of those deals where one of the few places you got good guys, you got bad guys. Some people root for good guys, some people like bad guys. Okay, and you can express how you feel when things don't go your way.
Right.
It's not like your teacher's telling you to be quiet, read your book. This is a thing here where you can get it all out, be a part of the whole experience. You know, root your fans on. Nobody tells you to shut up at a football or a baseball game. It's kind of the same. Wrestling fans are the same way as other sports fans. They want to be able to show who they like. They want to be able, you know, and those guys out there want to be able to get up underneath their pants. You know what I'm saying? And get them excited about you know what's going on there. They want to hate somebody. Yeah. They want to like somebody. That's what the business is about. You know, physically telling a story.
Exactly. And some of them, there were some great ones in the old wrestling when I was a kid that they could just build such a tension that by the end you were scared your hero was going to lose.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Something as simple as grabbing a hold in the center of the ring. If it's done right, that's the whole idea. Tag teams that know how to work together as teams and not as individuals. I mean, there's a lot of those things and people just don't get it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people out there that are quasi fans that sit in an armchair and want to judge businesses or how wrestling companies are working and stuff like that. They've never laced a pair of boots, put on a set of tights, or took a bump.
Right.
And they have no idea. They think they know it all because they've watched a lot of TV.
Yeah.
You know, and lots of video. But it takes a lot more than that.
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely
skills I'm nowhere close.
I would never go up to one of these stars and tell them how to do their act.
Yeah.
Just like I would not expect them to come up to me and tell me how to do mine.
That's true.
Yeah.
Who do you think is probably one of the best ones going right now that it really has something, you know, good, strong?
There's a lot of good talent going on right now. We were just talking earlier, NXT is the developmental for WWE. And the thing with that is, there's some young tag team that just moved up. That's they call them what is it? Alpha. What's the new tag team?
American Alpha.
American Alpha, yeah. And they are incredible. They mix amateur along with pro wrestling. They're fast. They're athletic. They're good, and they're just tremendous to watch. And I'm really enjoying seeing them being added to the tag teams with WWE now. You have NXT, which is an awesome show. And if you're a wrestling fan now, you got the network, $9.99. It costs you more to go to McDonald's, get a burger, fry, and a shake than it does to go and watch. And if you supersize it, Need I say more?
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? It's more money than it is to take and watch that. And you get every pay-per-view for free.
Yeah, and you get to watch the old stuff.
That's it. And they have a giant menu of the old stuff.
Yeah,
I have 8, 9, and 10-year-olds coming up to me that have sat down with their grandparents or they've sat down with their mom and dad that watched me when they were their age. And they're coming to me and they're going, wow, you're blah, 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 blah. And they're like, I remember when you wrestled The Undertaker in 1991 and you were in whatever town it was and you did this. What did you think about that? And, I've only got 1 or 2 brain cells that are left in my head that haven't been knocked out by chairs or falling from heights. Okay. And I have more concussions than you can count. But, so my memory is spontaneous, but it's one of those deals where, you're getting those guys coming to you and it's such a great thrill and they're sharing, parent and child or grandparent are sharing. This is what I used to watch, and they're watching the product that's out there now, and they're seeing something completely different. It gives them, wow, that was cool. That guy, The Undertaker, and they're seeing The Undertaker that's now, and then they're seeing The Undertaker from in the past that has, a manager that straight out of the morgue.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And guys in costume and guys that are colorful, guys that can think and give promos that are incredible and not being told what to say.
Right.
And they're seeing wrestling. They're not seeing 10, 15 minutes of promo, and hope for a wrestling match. They're seeing all these good things that are happening. You know what I'm saying? And they're being enlightened. It's the stuff from the past along with the new stuff that's out there. And then stuff for the future because they're being able to see the NXT program, which is an incredible program.
Yeah.
I mean, they're great wrestlers, young wrestlers, and most of those guys are guys that have been working maybe 10 years or more independently in small promotions all over the country. Because in my heart of hearts, I believe that the independents are going to be the future little territories and proving grounds for future stars in the wrestling business. You know what I'm saying? So it's one of those cool kind of things.
Yeah, Fred Ottman is just awesome, and he does a lot since Earthquake has passed away, which everything I heard about Earthquake, I like to have met him too, because everybody said, yeah, he could be big and scary as a wrestler, but he was just a big teddy bear. And he was a giant of a man. And so him and Fred Ottman, I think that was like his best friend in the world. He does a lot of nice tributes for Earthquake on his Facebook page. So I definitely encourage everybody to follow him. But I especially getting to watch like and we've covered a lot of old wrestling and some wrestlers that passed away. Getting to watch some of his old matches with Hulk Hogan. Oh, and Hacksaw Jim Duggan, which was another surprise for me, which I'm going to play that.
Yeah, I was waiting for you to bring him up.
Yep, good old Hacksaw Jim Duggan, who was as much fun in person as you would expect him to be.
You have my camera with me, but go ahead. But all right, Neverlanders, I am here with the legendary, literally WWE Hall of Famer Hacksaw Jim Duggan, and I gotta ask, so where did the whole persona of Jim Duggan and the patriotism you brought around, where did that come from?
Well, excuse me, brother, but the first thing Hacksaw has to do is give a big ho. Kind of fires me up, but Hacksaw is just kind of an extension of my personality. He's in here with me, and it's been my honor to carry our flag all over the world for over 30 years now, and it's just something that comes from the heart. I think that's why it helps my longevity. People see it's not an act, that it's coming from me, and that's helped with my longevity.
Yeah, that makes you a lot of people's childhood heroes.
Well, it's been my honor. I tell you, I'm a fan of Hulk Hogan myself. He's a good friend of mine, but it's great to be remembered this many years later from my heyday. It's hard to think of a football player or a band from the 80s or 90s, but folks still remember the WWF wrestlers.
Yeah, especially the 80s. Because it was better to me when they had those superheroes and those just super villains.
Right, yeah.
And when they started, and I still liked it in the 90s.
Yeah, it's still a good show. Even nowadays, a lot of folks are critical of the product, but there'll be 100,000 people at WrestleMania.
Right.
And I always joke with the NFL guys, I'm like, world champions? Where in the world have you boys been? The WWF goes all over the world.
Yeah, and it's still a huge day, and I do appreciate that they have all these new guys coming in. What worries me sometimes with the new guys is it seems like they have to do more extreme stunts. And when you have like Rey Mysterio, who's great to watch, but the injuries and stuff, I worry about these guys.
Well, a lot of guys, there's a trend to kids that fly a lot more.
Yeah.
There's smaller guys that fly. My generation was more bigger guys that brawled. That's the deal. People say, Hacksaw, what's your favorite move? I said, I kick and punch. What are you talking about? I'm a brawler. I'm not a wrestler.
Yeah, but it was still fun to watch. I think that's part of what the appeal was, that brawl. Just we were allowed to believe that completely, totally real, unscripted.
Well, that's the joke. You're always a phony wrestler until you go to court. When you go to court, you're a trained killer. So it's
that's I think
double-edged sword.
The love of it is like the people who were just being the bad guys. They had to be a bad guy out in public too. Even if they could be the nicest guy backstage, but like, oh, I'm in a grocery store. Somebody's going to come up. I got to be mean.
Well, it's always nice to have folks remember you, man. It's great. Yeah.
And now you're a cancer survivor.
Lucky enough to survive a cancer, kidney cancer. I was diagnosed 16 years ago, and early detection and the grace of God saved my life.
And probably, working out, taking care of yourself all those years.
Well, yeah, hopefully that had something to do with it. But of course, when I joke, I'm the last of the old timers with all my original body parts. Jake's got a new knee, Teddy's got a new hip, Foley's got a new shoulder. I'm still in the original package.
But I love that there's so much, because we lose so many of the old guys so often, because it's a rough sport to get into. You do so much damage to your bodies. So when we lose them, it just breaks our hearts. So I'm so happy that we have so many that are actually still with us.
Oh, yeah.
And sharing their stories.
We all miss Roddy Piper, God bless him.
Oh, that broke my heart.
Broke everybody's heart.
Especially, I loved his podcast.
Yeah. Piper's podcast was good.
He was so funny, and that's part of what's carried you to where everybody still loves you, because you're still funny.
Yeah, well, thank you, brother. Was that a shot? No.
Great. You've got this great, and even once I've been standing around here, that sense of humor comes out. I think that's part of the charm and the charisma that you've had. Charisma carries you pretty far. I think The Rock can really attest to that too.
Well, thank you, brother. I appreciate it. And nice talking with you, my friend. Before you go, you got to give me a hoe, though, brother. Ready?
Oh, that's right.
Good hoe, man.
Thanks.
Oh my God,
that was just awesome.
Good.
That's probably one of the best memories I have. I got to hoe with Hacksaw Jim Cousin.
There
Jim
you
Duggan.
go.
That's on par with here in this last year where Melanie Britt was hosting a panel and somebody asked her and she kindly performed the opening to She-Ra for us. The only thing would have been greater was if John Irwin had ever come and done conventions and done the opening for He-Man and the Masters of the Universe for us. Would have been great, but I kept that on my phone. That is like the greatest audio because I love She-Ra too. Not as much as He-Man, but I still love She-Ra enough to where I have a lot of She-Ra toys too. So that was golly. And even having the surprise, like I guess Mike Quinn, I don't have any audio from him, but Mike Quinn, who is a puppeteer with Jim Henson, and he got to be a Skeksis and the Dark Crystal, which I didn't know until I talked to him, and I was just completely over the moon. But he's also the one you see as not Kiadi Mundi. Oh my goodness, completely. But he's there with Lando Calrissian blowing up the Death Star in Return of the Jedi, and he even got to be in the sequel. Yeah, Nien Nunb or Nien Nunb, whichever one. I think it's Nien Nunb. I don't know. But I knew he had done that, but I didn't realize he was in the Dark Crystal and all the other things. He got to be sometimes, Kermit's other arm and stuff like that. The stuff that I found out from the people I met. But another frequent guest we've had, great author. I've gotten to go and meet him in person because he came in town to speak at one point while I was working as a courier. So I had a little time off, because I was like Ubering or whatever. So I was like, I'm just going to shut off everything and go hear Jeff Barnes, Dr. Jeff Barnes. He used to be a professor at California Baptist University, something like that. But he has left that to focus more on his speaking and also book writing. I think he's finally going to have that third book, which I've talked to him, we're waiting for that third book because his books are kind of themed around Disneyland and Walt Disney World. And I was like, all right, you got Shanghai and Euro Disney or Disneyland Paris. So I think he's actually about to release another book. But here it's Dr. Jeff Barnes.
So now we have Beyond the Wisdom of Walt, and from what I've seen of it, this seems to be more focused on Walt Disney World.
It is. In fact, the book releases on Sunday, October 1st, and it's specifically timed to coincide with Epcot's 35th anniversary October 1st, 1982, and the opening of the entire Walt Disney World Resort and Magic Kingdom October 1st, 1971.
Yeah, I hadn't thought of that, but yeah, that's pretty genius. Because we've been pretty focused on the Epcot 35 years because that's the main anniversary, I guess, that they've been posting up about, and that's pretty exciting. But yeah, that's right, the main park also. So
yeah, I think Epcot 35 seems to be the big deal this year, and then we're going to see a big push for the 50th anniversary in 2021.
I'd hope so, because it seems sometimes Walt Disney World gets like, oh hey, we've got a big anniversary. Yeah, it's been 45 years. Well, that's nice.
Right.
They just kind of push it aside, like, yeah, but it's not Disneyland, and it's like, well, Walt Disney World is cool too.
Well, it is cool, and it's funny because I write about this in the second book. Even though I started out in Florida and started my love for Disney parks at Walt Disney World, I genuinely believe that Disneyland, as the original Magic Kingdom and as the only park that Walt ever actually walked in, that it really was the only source for motivation, inspiration, leadership, and life lessons. And after I was done writing The Wisdom of Walt, I started reading on Walt Disney World, and man, the history is just as interesting. Some of the stories are even more intriguing. And I quickly discovered there are an equal number, different but equal number of life and leadership lessons. So it didn't take long to realize, Walt Disney World needs its own version of The Wisdom of Walt. And that's what Beyond the Wisdom of Walt is all about.
So do you actually find some wisdom we can learn from Roy Disney?
As a matter of fact, we do. So I made sure that Roy got highlighted in a couple of chapters. A lot of folks don't realize Walt died 6 months before they ever broke ground in Florida. And Roy put off retirement so that he could make sure that his brother's final wish came true. And it was Roy who insisted that they call it Walt Disney World as opposed to just Disney World. And then Roy himself died only 2 months after the Magic Kingdom opened. Magic Kingdom opened again October of 71, and then Roy passed away in December of 1971. And so you're going to find Roy highlighted more than one time in the book, because without Roy, not only is Walt not a success, and not only does Disneyland not ever happen, but Walt Disney World especially doesn't happen if it's not for Walt's older brother, Roy.
And the special thing about that was episode 200. Oh, I'm not hearing you anymore. He probably muted himself.
I muted myself.
Okay. I was about to say, oh no, I see his mouth going. I was like, oh no, we lost Eric. But yeah, so that was episode 200. You actually are in that episode, and we're actually part of that conversation with Dr. Jeff Barnes a long time ago.
And he has certainly been through a lot in his life since then. He had brain cancer, which he's recovered from, and
at least a brain tumor. He didn't have full cancer, but he did have a brain tumor, which is I introduced him to Pastor Philip, because he's had a few brain tumors and had over 7 surgeries on his brain to where he's ended up having seizures and all this kind of other stuff. So when Jeff was kind of struggling, because he had some additional brain surgeries, I actually introduced them to on Facebook, and they were able to talk, and it kind of helped each other. It was kind of nice.
Yeah.
And he's even going through their divorce, because I guess they had similar problems with their ex-wife. But Dr. Jeff has got himself remarried even, and is having all kinds of fun visiting Disney parks.
Yep. And it's certainly amazing to see him as he pursues this aspect of life. I don't know if we can say that he's on Facebook. He shares his journey, and it's amazing to see everything that he is able to engage in and participate in.
And he does have an email list newsletter. I don't remember what his website was off the top of my head, but I think if you looked for The Wisdom of Walt, you'll probably find it. But he'll send out emails, I'd say weekly to monthly, something like that. I can't remember. Where he'll share some interesting stuff. That's stuff he's maybe working on in the book. It seems like it's kind of slowed down a little bit, because I think he's more preparing for the next book. And but a lot of stuff I think he shared in email is probably something you're going to find in one of his books here as he's going along. So, but he's been a fun guest over the years. Also had Tom. Wow.
Amin?
Yes, Tom Amin. He's also been a frequent recurring guest. I could probably have him on almost yearly because he's always releasing new piano music, and he's done a lot of Star Wars albums and Disney albums and all kinds of great music. Did a one for 80s movies. I think it was the last time I had him on. There's been a lot of reoccurring guests. It's just been a ton of fun, and I've gotten to meet all these different people doing this show. And I met you doing the show. So, and that's been fun too.
Yeah.
So, I mean, before I play another clip, and I'm going to say now, I think I'm going to add the clips in because the sound quality sounds really weird the way we're listening to them. But if I play them, then you might be able to comment on if you something catches your ear. But yeah, I'll have to edit these in because I want to make sure the sound quality is good. Although I got to say the sound quality has really changed over the years. And I've gotten better equipment.
Oh, definitely.
Better equipped. But one of the weirdest things I ever did, and you probably remember this. So I was trying to do a kind of a gimmicky storyline because early on, the concept of the podcast, I was trying to make it fun story that we were actually going to Neverland every week and having adventures on Neverland. We were recording live from Neverland, that kind of thing, So we had one time that we had our own fictitious Disneyland that lived at Neverland, and we went into the Haunted Mansion, and the ghost host followed us out and did something to me. And so we had, for a brief time for October, I always tried to find something spooky fun to do. We had the Evil Land podcast, where I wasn't able to host the show. We had this ghost host, and I weirded out some people who didn't know what all was going on. We even had our friends from Disney, Indiana come on, and they were, what's going on? Because you didn't really hear the effects I was doing to, all right, I'm going to ruin the illusion. Yes, it was me. I was the ghost host. And I did some audio magic to give myself a reverse echo and this deeper voice, Neverland spooky voice. But he had taken over hosting duty, and we had this really fun little ending I had to it with a lot of our podcasting friends helped me out. That, how do you bring somebody back in Neverland? Clap your hands and say that we believe. And, and even Skywalking Through Neverland even helped out with that. Just a bunch of people helped out to bring me back from wherever the ghost host had buried me. So I've done some weird things on this show. Even talked about the Country Bears movie with Paul Berry, which I guess is a weird thing because that was a weird movie, but I kind of liked it. I watched it when I was going to have Paul on there to talk about the movie because I'm I've never seen it. And I took a snapshot of my screen and I recognized him as an extra in the background. And I shared it and was like, there you are. You're an extra in the Country Bears movie. So one of many, many goofy, fun people that I've gotten to meet. Is there a favorite person that's been on the show? Because you've got to meet quite a few people in the time. You got a favorite?
Oh, yeah. I've met quite a few. Terry Hardin.
Oh, yeah. Although I didn't think I've ever had her on the show, though. I haven't had her on my show.
Well, she's so prolific.
Yeah.
She's so prolific. So I must have thought she was on here.
No,
she's an amazing future guest.
Yeah, maybe I'll have to do this. Although she's kind of, when someone, it's harder now to get people as guests because people start doing their own thing. And if they're doing their own thing, if they're already got enough clout, they don't need me. And it can be difficult to get them on.
Well,
so I don't know that I could get them.
I have met someone else who's been on the show, though. Mike Peraza.
Yes. He was a lot of fun. I think I got to talk to them a little bit because mainly they were at Marceline, and I got to talk to him and his wife, Patty, and their different effects. They're fun to follow on Facebook too. So yeah. But yeah, you must have met them at a different event because you weren't with me in Marceline.
It was at a different event. And it's the same event I met Terry Hardin at. Every April, the Disney Fantasy Fan, oh golly, I forgot the actual name. NFFC. Anyhow, it's a collection of Disney aficionados who have their own fan convention. And there was Terry Hardin. There were the Perazas. There was somebody from Disney Gaming that was there that I got to meet, and I actually bought their limited edition Sorcerer Mickey Infinity figure.
Nice.
While I was there. But it was a great opportunity, very low key, very low scale, where you could sit and talk with these folks for a good 15, 20 minutes without feeling like you were intruding on their time or preventing other people from coming up to chat with them.
Huh.
But it's an event that's held every, they do it every like late April, early May. And the convention itself, and it's really a couple of ballrooms in a hotel.
Of course.
To get into the convention itself, there's no cover charge. So me and my son went. We found, we got to meet both of them. We got to, I think I had to buy a lounge fly for my wife while I was there. Oh, I'm being told I wasn't. I'm buying a lounge fly. But it was a wonderful event just to meet different collectors to see what kind of things they had available for sale at this event that was specifically just to buy and sell Disney items.
Nice. Because I've heard of like that. They'd have like, not a swap and shop, but they have like occasional big things where like the expensive big dollar Disney collectors. There's a group that does that specifically and holds events every once in a while. But yeah, a small event would be fun. For like I need to collect more
National
stuff.
Fantasy Fan Club, I think is what it was called.
Where do they usually hold it?
It's in Southern California. They've held it in the city of Santa Ana and the city of Orange. That's where I went, was the city of Orange, which is just southeast of Anaheim.
If I can find my way to get there, I might have to go. That might be fun. Right. There's something to consider. Of course, if I'm substitute teaching, it might be harder to find that. Well, then again, all I got to do is say is I'm not available to teach this week, but we'll see.
Hey, it was the same. It was the same weekend we went over to the Twin Pines Mall.
Figure while you're on the trip, hit it all. I am finding though, as I get older and I go to the places, I limit what I can do. Like we went to Branson to go to Silver Dollar City to check it out for Christmas, which was amazing. I didn't tell any stories on the podcast about that. Maybe we'll do that later sometime on a different show. But while we were there, I had meant to go to this thing called the Butterfly Palace. I thought my wife would love it. We didn't quite leave home as early as I wanted to get there in time to see it. But by the time we'd traveled there and knowing we were going to be on our feet all day, we were like, yeah, maybe we shouldn't. Because you don't have the energy as you get older as you want to have. So it was fine to just do one thing, but we did see a lot of stuff in Branson. They have a tiger sanctuary in Branson that I think next time we're going to have to go down again to check that out. There was something else along the way we spotted that we didn't know was a thing. But trying to pack a lot of stuff into a trip is harder to do the older you get, because you're like, I'm tired. I just want to go to the hotel. Can we just sleep? Let's take a nap, and then just focus on the one thing we're here for. But I guess we have kids. You can feed off their energy a little bit, I guess. I hope.
Now that I'm on this side of the century mark, it's a little harder to be quite as active in some of those trip opportunities. But, it's a wonderful blessing to be able to travel, to experience the world, and to, relive old memories, but also learn to make new ones as you go to new places and see new things.
Yeah. And meet new people, as something else new that I got to do. Planet Comic-Con this past year. Daniel Ross, who won Emmys for his portrayal of Donald Duck on like the Roadsters. It was a racing thing. It was for little kids, but he got to be Donald Duck, and he was a lot of fun.
Definitely. Alrighty, we are here with the great Daniel Ross. Now, maybe some people are not familiar with you. You're almost kind of new to the game here in a little way.
A little bit.
You've really kind of been making a mark for yourself, though. Daniel Ross here is currently the voice of Donald Duck.
Oh boy!
And you got an award for that.
I sure did. I won an Emmy a couple of years ago at the Children's and Family Emmys. That was pretty epic.
Yeah, and that's your first ever award. I remember you were so grateful. Had a lot of great photos.
That was life-changing. Absolutely life-changing to go through that journey with Donald. And many people know the story of my mom, Mama Duck. So that was dedicated to her memory. She taught me how to do the voice when I was 3 years old.
Wow.
And so that was really special. That moment is something I will never forget.
Now, I have heard, I think Tony Anselmo has talked about, it has to be like certain times of the day because his sinuses, everything has to be just right to get just the right tone of Donald. Have you found that to be the case?
Yes and no. I mean, I don't know Tony's process. He and I have never met, actually. I hope to someday. But for me, I've been doing it my whole life. And so I can do it just about any time of day. Now, I will always want to warm up, of course, because like anything, it's like working a muscle. So, I'll do some scales. Oh, there's interesting sounds going on. We're at a very large convention center as this interview is going, and there's stuff going on. So I can break into it just about any time, but I will wear out after a certain amount of pushing it.
Yeah, I've noticed it takes a lot of air pressure. I had a guy back that I went to school with who could do a great Donald Duck.
Yeah.
And he tried to teach some of his classmates like me, but I can't get anything distinct where I can make the sound. I've never gotten it to go any further than at least the tone, but I cannot control it at all. So it's a gift. I swear.
I agree. And I'm very grateful to have that gift. I never thought that this is what I'd be doing with that gift. I honestly thought when I moved to Los Angeles, I would be able to bark like a pug. That's what I thought I'd use it for. Yeah. And so here we are, all these years later.
And you're almost like the new Frank Welker, because you got to do Stripe.
Oh, my goodness.
Replacing Howie Mandel as Gizmo. That's huge.
Yeah, and you know what? Frank Welker voiced Stripe originally in Gremlins, and he's also been the voice of Grimace, who I now voice as well. So, Frank, I love him to pieces. I knew him growing up as Megatron in Transformers, because I was a huge Transformers fan. And so, I seem to have stepped into legacy characters, which is such a niche place to be, and I'm just grateful to be here to be able to bring these characters to life for a new generation. I'm just, again, grateful that it happens to be me, because it could have been anybody. And I just want to imbue these characters with love and keep that place in everybody's heart safe where their inner child lies. Yeah. And so this means a lot to me, outside of just being my job, which is fun.
Yeah, it's like the coolest job ever.
And of course,
yes.
And Stripe.
It shows my age. The multiverses, I am not good at.
I forced myself to be good at it. And actually, just I think this past week, they released my final character in the game. I also voice Uncle Shagworthy, like Uncle Shagworthy at your service. I also voice the brain gremlin from Gremlins 2, you see.
Oh, great.
Previously voiced by Tony Randall. Mm-hmm. We'll see what we want, what you have. Civilization.
And of course, everybody's got to stock up on handguns. That's probably one of the best bits in that movie.
That's a choice. That's a choice.
Oh, it just kind of cracked me up. That movie doesn't get enough credit. It's basically making fun of the first movie.
Yes, indeed, and all movies. It is a giant parody, and it's wonderful chaos.
Mm-hmm. And if you're bringing Hulk Hogan in when I was a kid, that's it. I was in. Hulk Hogan.
That's right.
But I've also seen that you're the voice of Starscream.
Yes, I voiced Starscream in the 2007 Transformers movie video games.
Nice.
Have you brought me the All-Spark human? That was a lot of fun. I'm a huge Transformers fan. As you can see, I've got Cybertronian on me.
Oh, nice.
Language of the Transformers, and I grew up with that. So to voice Starscream and to change the voice a little bit, because it was originally Chris Latta.
Oh, yeah.
And he was up here, Decepticons! So we did something very different for the movies, and that was super exciting. Yeah, I happen to be able to do those kinds of, throaty kind of characters, but it was just, that blew my mind. That was like the tip of the pyramid for me. Climb my Mount Everest at the time to be in Transformers, let alone to be the lead villain for the video games.
Yeah. I had wondered, I think Tony is still doing the stuff for the parks. Have they talked to you about starting to do Donald in the parks?
No, I was brought on for Mickey and the Roadster Racers, Mickey Mouse Mixed Up Adventures. So my journey with Donald came to an end with Mickey and Minnie Wish Upon a Christmas, which was the TV movie. Will there be more Donald in the future? That's, up to the powers that be. But in the meantime, Tony Anselmo's been a wonderful steward of the character for, I think, almost 30 plus years, and hopefully many more. And if Disney ever needs me, they know where to find me.
Yeah. We have to keep Donald going.
Exactly.
He was always my favorite when I was a kid. I can kind of relate to him because everything always happens to him. He gets stuck with all of that luck. And I had a bad temper when I was a kid, so I totally related to him.
Yeah?
And it took me a while to grow into Mickey because nothing ever happened to Mickey.
That's right. Well, that's why Donald was brought on. Mm-hmm. Walt created Donald to do the things that Mickey could not.
Yeah.
And so here we are.
That's why the best Mickey is those early Mickeys when he was a little ornery and he'd get into trouble. He got so sanitized. I'm like, I still love Mickey, but he's so sanitized. So you need Donald to mix it up.
You know, over a journey of, let's be honest, almost 100 years, characters will go on, they will evolve over time.
Yeah.
And Donald is just the same, you know, from when he started in 1934. He just celebrated his 90th birthday last year.
It's crazy.
And so, you know, to be, again, a part of this legacy and this adventure has just been the joy of a lifetime for me. And to see the fans who are happy with the character and just hearing the voice. I hear from everybody. Like, my uncle can do that voice. My brother, my aunt, you know, my cousin. And so it's something that is in the social fabric.
Yeah.
You know, everybody knows Donald Duck. My parents, my grandparents, my great-grandparents knew Donald. So I love that I've been a small cog in a very big machine. And just, again, to bring some joy, that makes me happy.
He's still, they say Mickey's an everyman, but Donald's the most relatable because we've all done something that's supposed to be, this is supposed to have been easy, and it just goes completely off the rails.
That's right. That's right. And he ends up going...
I see, and that's, I think, the ability that you have to do that compared to, like, because everybody can, they try to do an impression of Donald.
Yeah.
But being able to have Donald have emotions and do the different sounds, that takes a lot of skill.
I have always considered myself to be a master of buccal speech. That's the technical term for Donald Duck talk. And so I can do lots of things with that. I can sing, I can speak in lots of different languages. I have very few limitations in that regard. And when it was my turn to bring Donald to life for the Disney Junior shows, the producer specifically asked me if I could pitch him up slightly and enunciate so that he would be clearer and more easy to understand, which, as we know, is kind of a contradiction to the character. The whole shtick is, what do you say? What do you say? And so if you hearken back to Clarence Ducky Nash, you know, it's a little different than mine. But I can go back between the different ones. So I prided myself on being able to do that and give the producers what they wanted for the shows. And I always hear from people, I can understand him now. I can understand what he says.
Yeah, because there used to be stories when I was a kid that everybody thought Donald Duck was finding ways to curse when he was throwing his tantrums.
No.
But nobody could understand. And I'm like, no, I never.
No, and I can speak with some authority on this.
Yeah.
Donald has never cussed. He has never said a bad word. He has said things that sound like bad words, you know, but he has never actually said anything untoward. So
now I have heard Jim Cummings talk about stuff he tries to slip in an ad-lib to where it's like, I didn't really say that, but I said something that everybody's going to get the joke that I almost said it.
As long as he finishes with, oh, bother. That's all that matters.
Because on his podcast, he's told the story multiple times, and I completely forgot of like his favorite line. He ad-libbed something into, I think it was a Darkwing Duck thing.
Oh, yeah.
No, it wasn't Darkwing Duck. It was a Tailspin.
Oh,
he snuck in a line with the accent of Don
Carnage. Yeah.
Don Carnage. It was to where
I just did his podcast, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'm really behind because I've been really re-listening to The Lord of the Rings here lately. So
oh, wow.
I'm like a couple months on all my podcasts.
That's good stuff, too.
Yeah, because I'm preparing. We're going to watch Lord of the Rings on my other show.
But he's got a lot of guests planned out, so I'm probably going to be next year, I would assume.
Oh, so it hasn't aired? I haven't missed it.
No, it hasn't aired. We just recorded it, I think, 2 weeks ago.
Which, all right, side story before I wrap this up. Actually, with Adrian Ralph, who's an artist, who's here today, I'm going to go talk to him. When we brought him in, I think I told you this actually before we started recording, though. But we had this Disney panel, and Jim Cummings, I've never gotten to talk to Jim Cummings because he was doing his panel in the main area, and all the Disney fans were, of course, wanting to hear Winnie the Pooh, and not us.
Yep.
So, yeah, I want to talk to him. It's like, I finally get a chance to actually meet you, and you don't get to steal my crowd.
That's wild. Yeah, so for his podcast, I was like, let's do some dueling Winnie the Poohs.
Yeah, because your Winnie the Pooh was pretty good there.
It's not too shabby. I've been working on it for some time, but he is the voice.
Yeah,
you know that is his. I'm not trying to get it, but just to play in the sandbox. You know, I was like, Mr. Cummings, could I fling some poo at you? So, that's just a, childhood dream come true right there.
You got it pretty good. Now, if you can do Tigger as well, I'll tell you what.
Well, Tiggers love to bounce.
Well, if he ever decides to retire, you're the man.
No. That will be a long, long time from now.
I don't see him quitting for anything. He's having much fun.
No, and he's too good.
So, any advice that you would give to anybody who is thinking of getting into voice acting?
Oh, absolutely. So, a couple things. First and foremost, you must study the art of acting.
Yeah.
It's not just about doing a silly voice or being able to do lots of silly voices. You have to fully embody those characters and bring them to life. And so there's a process to be able to do that of, self-discipline and education, learn the elements of acting, scene studies, learn how to do improv. Those are some things that I would suggest for anybody and everybody just to try at least once in your life. There are so many skills that you can use in other things and other avenues. But if you decide after that training that, hey, maybe voice acting is what you want to do, then, the world is open to you.
Yeah.
And if you look at me as an example, I never intended to be a voice actor. It just kind of landed in my lap, and I went on this amazing tangent, and here we are.
Yeah.
So I'm very grateful for the journey. I'm grateful again for the characters that I've had the great fortune to portray, and that I will eventually portray.
Yeah.
There's lots of good stuff coming too that I can't talk about yet, but this has been the joy of a lifetime and such an adventure.
Yeah.
So if you are out there and you want to go on that kind of an adventure, invest in yourself, believe in yourself, know that I believe in you, and do great things out there.
And a little bit of luck of the Irish doesn't hurt.
And a little bit of luck of the Irish, that's right. They're magically delicious.
Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
Yeah, so Daniel Ross was I did not expect I'd get to meet him because I don't know how I ended up following him on Facebook. I don't know, because I have gotten to speak with I didn't get to have him on the show because they weren't allowed to have any audio with him, but I do have a signed thing up here from Brett Iwan, the voice of Mickey Mouse, mainly for the parks, but he got to do a lot of the shows as well. He didn't do those newer shorts that they did for a while with the kind of odd redesigns. That was actually somebody else.
Yeah, the Paul Rudish world of Mickey Mouse.
Yeah.
Is what you're talking about.
Brett Iwan has mainly been like in the parks and everything, and he's like the official replacement for Wayne Allwine. And I got to meet him, and I got a signed thing. I met him a second time in Marceline, actually working KQ2. They sent me because they knew I'd be prepared for it. Marceline was getting a clock from I think from Disneyland. It was one of the fancy ones from the main watch sponsor that's made all the clocks and different things in Disney parks. But they were getting one. And it was part of the 100th anniversary of Disney, and Mickey and Minnie were there. It was this huge event. And because KQ2 knew that I had a history, they sent me to go and cover it. So I got to interview Brett Iwan for a television thing as well. So I've gotten to meet Mickey. I've gotten to meet a Donald, and I got to meet Goofy one time when Bill Farmer came to a convention here in town. All right, so now
have a laugh.
I'm here with the legendary Bill Farmer. Hello, how's your day been?
It's been great. I mean, the fans here in Kansas City have just been the best.
Hi. Double-sided question. So, how long have you been Goofy?
Gosh, well, professionally, about 30 years. But I think I've been Goofy my whole life.
Yeah, so probably the rest of your life been pretty Goofy.
Yes.
So, my goodness, so have you now, I guess, been Goofy longer than anybody else?
Well, let me see. Pinto Colvig originated the voice in 1932. He passed away in the late 60s. But he didn't do near the volume of work that I've done. I've done over about 3,500 different projects for Disney in the 30 years. And Pinto only did like 87 cartoons and some record albums and stuff. So I've certainly done the majority of the work.
Yeah. So how do you manage to get like that laugh? Sometimes it just doesn't, it sounds inhuman a little bit because there's a hoop, but
well, you
where
got
did it come from?
It's it was a hard thing to kind of come up with, but if I can do it, it's just Goofy's laugh. It's a goofy laugh.
That wheeze part is always thinking that, like, how does he make that sound? Always completely blows my mind.
It is. It's kind of one of the secrets of the trade here, but it's a kind of a sucking in sound. You know, kind of sucking in there.
So, with the success now of these newer cartoons, are we expecting like another Thursday? I think we've got like 2 seasons worth of them now, don't we?
Absolutely, and it's kind of funny. Right behind me, behind the curtain, George Takei from Star Trek is there, and he was in and did an episode of of our new series 7D just a couple of weeks ago. So we're making new cartoons. I'm in the 7D as the character Doc. He's a very intelligent character, and so I have an intelligent character and a somewhat less intelligent character. And the new Mickey Mouse shorts, which was very sad to hear that Alan Young passed away yesterday, and he did one of the most recent ones that we did, where he appeared as Scrooge McDuck for the last time, I assume.
Yeah, I saw him as Scrooge, I think, one time. So he did a second one?
Oh, he did. This one was, it's called Goofy's First Love. It's a cartoon, Goofy's First, and he makes an appearance.
I haven't seen that one yet.
And, we'll pull it up on the computer here.
Yeah, I'll have to check it out.
Okay, so just to remind everybody, of course, we're very familiar with Katie. She's actually talked to us a few times with her book, Adventures in Oddity, and also her work on the Gummy Bears and Darkwing Duck, and, of course, Adventures in Odyssey. And then as a reminder for anyone who hasn't heard when Townsend was on our show, it's been like 3 years. My goodness, Michelangelo from the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and the Tick are some of your major highlights that I think everybody's going to be familiar with.
Yeah, I love the Tick. Say spoon.
Spoon!
Which is fantastic. But of course, both of you got a chance to work with the late, great Alan Young on Adventures in Odyssey.
Sure did.
So when you first met him, were you kind of like, oh my goodness, it's Wilbur?
Well, I was. Yeah, I don't know about, were you, Katie? Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking, I don't think I even worked with Alan before he started working on Odyssey with us. I don't think I've ever done anything with him outside of.
Yeah, I'd never met him before I met him on Odyssey. And the day that I met him, I was a bit of a fanboy.
Oh, yeah, me too. I tried to play it cool, but, come on.
Right, you always do. But yeah, exactly. Come on. It's like I was just, oh no, this is really Wilbur.
Right. Yeah. And then, we sit in the kitchen and talk, and I didn't realize he wrote the whole show. He produced that show. I mean, that was his baby.
Yeah, I didn't realize that either. Yeah.
So were you tempted to ask him then, okay, if you kind of worked so much on the show and produced the show, how did you get Mr. Ed's lips to move for him to talk?
I don't think I ever asked him that.
Yeah, I figured he'd probably been asked that so many times in his life that he was tired of answering it.
That didn't occur to me. I was so fascinated with, his history, and his whole life is very interesting. To come here, he grew up really poor, and then he was in Canada, and then he started in the entertainment. He was in the original Time Machine movie.
Yeah.
Wow.
Philby.
But I got to admit, I was probably cheesy of me to the first thing I asked him is, how long have you been Goofy? Because I'm sure he's been asked that a million times. But I couldn't help it.
Either that or how many cups of sugar does it take to get to the moon?
There you go. Exactly. But and I think when I got it down, I always think of him as taking over as Goofy at Goof Troop. But no, he'd been doing stuff a little bit before that as well. And it's only recently I like to listen to the Jim Cummings podcast, and was it when he's talking to Don? No, when he's talking to I want to say James Marsden, if I'm getting the right names, who was Max. How when they were doing the movie for the Goof Troop, a Goofy movie, they almost cast like celebrity names instead of getting the cast of the. I'm like, what were they thinking? Who else could do Goofy other than Bill Farmer right now?
Well, it's not Steve Martin.
Yeah, so you have to bring the people from the cast, because nobody does Goofy like Bill Farmer, other than maybe Brian Hull. Am I thinking of the right guy? Yeah. Really great impressionist for doing this. He does a really good Goofy too, but Bill Farmer just has this perfect quality. And they even, I think when they were talking to James Marsden, I think is when it was, they even mentioned that when you hear Bill Farmer talk, he's got that Kansas kind of drawl that somehow or another you just hear Goofy in his normal tone of voice. But as you heard during that clip, that was not only Bill Farmer, but that also had Townsend Coleman and Katie Lee in that clip. And it was recently the passing of Alan Young, because something else we've done on this show many times is paying tribute to people who meant a lot to us, mainly a lot when we were kids. And so we've done a lot of tribute episodes to people who, because let's face it, and especially that's one of the things I love having Katie Lee on so much, because she was in a lot of stuff I watched growing up, like Muppet Babies, and she was even Richie Rich at one point, and Gummy Bears stuff. In my formative years, had a great impact on me. So these are the people that kind of helped raise us. And so when getting to have them on, or when that one of them passes away, oh my goodness, like Stan Lee passing away. I mean, we felt it. And recently Hulk Hogan passing away. I mean, that was a big chunk of my childhood too. So I appreciate having this place where we can kind of get together and celebrate the memories of all the fun things they did and what they've meant to us, and try to ignore when you have some negative press on some of these people. We can kind of look past that. We kind of have to acknowledge it because it's an elephant in the room, but then we can push the elephant out of the room and talk about what we enjoyed about that person and what they did. Because no one's perfect. Let's face it. I'm definitely not. I'm definitely not. And I'm even awkward in person. And I don't know how much you've seen of this, but there's people who have met me in person at conventions or even Marceline. Talking to a large group and presenting, easy. Me one-on-one with somebody I don't know, I am incredibly shy. I'm socially awkward. I'm a mess. And I kind of made a fool of myself with one guy I met in Marceline. And then worse of it was this one girl who I met at a convention and everything that was a fan of the show. And I'd gotten used to, there's a podcast I love listening to that's currently called That Story Show, but it used to be called Nobody's Listening. And one of the running jokes is when somebody reveals their full name or part of their, where they live, what city they live, they'd go, "Stalkers!" And I reflexively, she gave her full name, and I reflexively yelled "Stalkers," and she's looking at me really weird. I said, "Oh, I'm sorry, that's an inside joke on another podcast," and it's a reflex now. And I'm just like, oh, golly. And I'm like, I just made such an idiot of myself. And even the fun moments, I don't think you were there for this one. This was at the, I think Kansas City Comic-Con. I don't remember if it was Planet Comic-Con, but this is the things that wore my heart and I almost cried. I got in there and I felt a lot of times like, I'm kind of I'm a small peg, but to go through, and I started a panel, I asked, so how many of you are here because you're familiar with the Neverland podcast? And a bunch of hands shot up. I about cried. I was like, oh my gosh, my people, they're here. There's, because I can see numbers on a thing that says that people are listening. But when I get to see them there and they show up for something, it means it's a spectacular thing. It's like real, like, oh, and there was even, I spotted once an ex-girlfriend in the audience of one thing, which one of my ex-girlfriends actually is a grandmother. So I'm feeling old too. But one of the funniest interactions I had, we were looking at some item at a convention. Me and this lady was there. And we're talking about, like, there was something we were excited about that was coming. And she says, last year there was this guy that brought in these people. And I said, yeah, that was me. So she wasn't listening to the show, but she attends my panels. And I love that too, because not everybody who goes to my panels ends up listening to the show. I think I do gain quite a few people. There was even last Planet Comic-Con, I mentioned the watching movies with my pastor. And it's funny, these people came up to me and said, you said the podcast, what was it called? You said something is about watching movies with your pastor. I said, that's the name of it, watching movies with my pastor. So I feel like I've probably gained them, and hopefully they've transitioned. And if they're listening right now, hi, thanks for listening. Thanks for coming to the panel. That was fun. So getting the times I've gotten to interact with people at panels or when I meet stuff, but you'll find I'm awkward as heck. So if you think I sound like I'm awesome, believe me, I'm a dork. I really am. When I talk about being nerd and geek culture, I'm not kidding. I am that nerd that just grew taller. Okay. And I went from being the skinny nerd to being the chubby nerd because I gained about another 100 pounds or so. So, which I really, and when I was in high school, I would have loved to have gained 100 pounds, but I'd rather have it in the muscle department and not making me pear-shaped. So, and you got a chance to come up for a panel one time. And I remember when I picked you up from the airport and you were just loving all the green grass and the hills that we have around here.
We don't get too much green out here in Arizona.
Yeah.
At least my part of Arizona. I will say I got to go up into the forest and up onto the rim back in August. And I had one of those, I didn't know there was this much green in Arizona moments.
Oh, my goodness. And I've never been to Arizona, but I've been the other side of the Colorado Rockies into Grand Junction. And suddenly everybody, they didn't have a lawn. They had a rock garden.
Yep. And what you saw is pretty much what we got down here as well.
So I hadn't thought of that until you had you in the car and you're just like, wow, it's so green. And look at these hills. And I was like, oh, wow. Yeah. From Arizona, I guess you wouldn't. So, and then he got to sleep on the couch. Lucky him in our old apartment.
Lucky me.
And then we had like really bad frozen breakfast burritos. And that's why you also see when I get to a convention, I'm 100 miles an hour because I've got so much stuff I'm trying to cover, and I bring snack bars and stuff with you. So I was keeping us fed. And I think you were a little bewildered of how much stuff I was trying to get done.
But hey, we got to talk with Timothy Zahn at that convention.
Oh, you got some books signed too, didn't you? Yes. Yeah. I let you talk to Timothy Zahn because I think you've read more of his books than I have. So I was like, here, take the mics, go. And I think we had, I think I was in college at the time. And so I had like a lapel mic, and we passed the lapel mic back around or something, I think, for that one.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's one of the times I brought a lot of equipment, and Adrian was so nice to let me store my equipment in his booth. So, because I think that's the year that we had Adrian. Or maybe that was a different year.
That was the following year.
Yeah, because
Two separate years.
We had Adrian, and this ends up being a funny story, and I love telling this. They scheduled us the same time as the great Jim Cummings in the main hall. So, of course, where are the Disney fans going? They want to hear Winnie the Pooh and Tigger, not us. And we played to an empty room.
Darkwing.
Yeah, and Darkwing. I mean, golly. So, of course, the Disney fans didn't come hear us, even though we had a fantastic Disney artist with a lot of great stories, and I'm glad we recorded it. But I remember Adrian looking at me. It's like, he would just want a lie, basically. So what he wanted is like, so this is not normal for you, right? I said, oh, no, last time we packed the room. And he says, no, you're not getting me. This isn't normal for you, right? And I was like, oh, yeah, we're all the time. It's an empty room for us. And so, yeah, and I've gotten a chance Adrian came up this past year, got a chance to interview him again. Had a lot of fun with it. Adrian's just a good dude. He really is just a good dude. And I got a signed, while we were playing audio earlier, I was showing, I've got a signed Hogwarts books that he did work on the Hogwarts Legacy. And he's got a new comic, I guess, for, is that recently released? The Fox and the Pounds.
Yeah, this just came out a couple of weeks ago. He has a weekly comic strip that he does for a newspaper in Idaho. And what he's done is he's reprinted all of the little comics that come out in that paper in this book. This is actually the second volume of these that he's made. So, and this is in addition to his. It's his characters Chim Chum and the Portly Samurai. Mm-hmm. It's basically a samurai and a fox who wander around kind of maybe sort of semi-feudal Japan. But it's just, he said a lot of it comes from his experience with his cats. And it's all just one panel humor.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's got these two books. He's actually created a comic book that was released a few years ago with a full issue of a new journey that he was sending these two characters on. But this it's called The Fox and the Pounds.
Yeah,
because it's a portly samurai. And like I said, it just came out on Amazon about 2 weeks ago, and I managed to snag a copy of it. In fact, my copy was printed the 23rd of November, 2025.
Wow. I'm still waiting on my copy of his Steamboat Willie comic that he was doing with some other collaborators.
And he is working on that. He was waiting for some backers to get back with their information. He actually just posted an update on his Kickstarter that said that he's moving forward with it. At the time they were getting it ready to be sent to the printer. Once it gets printed and shipped back, then they're going to start fulfilling all of the orders.
Awesome. I'm anticipating that quite a bit. And I've been waiting. I feel like I've been waiting since I talked to him when he was telling me about it. Oh my goodness. But also at that, another like local artist, Kerry Callan. I got a chance to speak with him.
Today, we're of course, I say today, I'm going to be sitting with a lot of people, but I'm sitting here with Kerry Callan. Hello. Local artist who made good. And I mean, very good. I mean, you might not be one of the most famous names in the world, but you've done so much incredible work between writing and your comics and Mag Magazine and I've been reading your stuff since I can't even remember how long ago that I first found Halo and Sprocket in a comic shop.
That would have been 2001, maybe, when the first one came out.
Probably was, because I was still dating my wife. And I remember I got it, I read it, I said, this is great, you got to read this.
Hopefully she liked it, because I've noticed with Halo and Sprocket that people who don't normally read comics will actually like it a lot of times, because it's a collection, a whole bunch of short stories, so people don't get bored. And it's also about everyday life, so people can relate to it. I guess I should say a little more about it.
Yeah.
It's about a robot and an angel who live with a young single woman. So the robot looks at everything very logically, and the angel, it's not a religious book at all, but the angel sees everything metaphysically. And then you've got poor Katie, the human, who's stuck in between the two. So she's always kind of having to deal with both these extreme viewpoints. And like I say, it's a humor book. If I hadn't said that, it's a humor book of like short stories. So I usually get great reviews on it, so I would recommend it. If people are interested in my writing, I would say get Halo and Sprocket. The art's more simple than it is on my other work. But thanks for bringing it up.
Yeah, because I love like little bits, everyday things we think was a human, and seeing like the contrast with Halo and Sprocket. Like even when she's trying to prove a point, and she fills a glass. Like, okay, see, it's whether or not you see this glass is half full and half empty, and they can't even see it what she's going. You know, it's like Sprocket's like, well, actually, it's about 40% full, and the other part is full of air. And
well, his first reaction is something I've never heard before until I thought of it. Is that it's half full because he watched her fill the glass.
Oh, yeah.
So as she filled the glass, as he was filling the glass, she stopped, so it was half full. If you had a full glass of water and poured out half of it, then it would be half empty. Yeah. And then they talk about other possibilities, like the one you mentioned too. And of course, Halo, the angel, doesn't even understand the question because it's like looking at a yin-yang and saying, is this a yin or is it a yang? You know? Yeah. So it's that type of story. Yeah.
And part of the fun is that you never explain why they're living together, so everybody gets to come up with their own theory.
Right.
My thought is maybe she invented Sprocket. Either way, Sprocket is a new development in AI and has some sort of robotic soul, and so Halo was sent to kind of monitor his growth.
More or less, yeah.
And it seems to fit.
Yeah.
So that's my own brain theory, whatever.
I know how they got together, and I don't know if I'll ever tell the story or not, because I started writing it once, and it just felt so different than these short stories that examine everyday life. And those are the two elements that are out of place, is an angel and a robot. So if I tell the origin, it's not like that, because it's not about everyday life. It's got to be more about scientific breakthroughs and angels appearing on Earth and that kind of thing. So I don't know. I don't know if I'll ever tell it, because it kind of amuses me too that you don't need it. You don't need the origin. Just enjoy the stories.
We really don't. And especially, I still one of my favorite little shorts that you did in there, other than because I have 3 cats. I love the cat one you've done. But where Katie's just sitting there watching TV, Halo and Sprocket suddenly pop up in the middle of the room, shift a little thing over. It's like, great, now we do this and none of this will ever happen. And they've got like weird stuff on their heads, and you're like, I have no idea what just happened. She's like, you two are never going to explain this to me, are you?
Well, they don't know. Yeah. I always think in time travel stories, when people go back and change something so that it will never happen, then it never happened. So there's no story to tell.
But just little, funny ideas. It's like, we normally don't think about, but that's why I think this is probably one of the most creative bits of comedy I think I've ever read, because it's crazy stuff that you relate to, but you don't stop and think about it. So, and especially even Dirt Nap. Dirt Nap I picked up, I guess, a couple of years ago. It was something new, and
I finished Halo and Sprocket and put them in a collection. And it's like I don't remember the page count, 140 maybe a little more. And it occurred to me, it's like, wow, I've done enough work over time that this could have been a single story at that many pages. You know, it didn't seem like as I was doing single pages, it just didn't feel like a big a project, but then it turned into big after I kept doing them. So anyway, I thought maybe it'd be fun to write just a single self-contained story that has a beginning and end. So that's what Dirt Nap is, which is one word. By the way, if you're looking for Dirt Nap or Halo and Sprocket, you can get them on Amazon. It's a lot easier to just type my name in, because otherwise you get sprockets and for bicycles. But going back to Dirt Nap, the premise of it basically is a guy dies and he's a ghost, and then a little later his body rises as a zombie, because a ghost obviously is a spirit without a body, and a zombie is a body without a spirit. So they end up merging back together, and then they end up fighting werewolves and vampires and that kind of thing. So like I say, it's self-contained. You get to see the origin of the characters that are in it. And it was just a fun little romp. I love the kind of Marvel horror books books as a kid. So I was basically writing it to entertain my inner child, you know.
Yeah, Kerry Callan is awesome, and I feel I spend a lot of time on Facebook. People will use his art and share it without crediting him, and so I always tag him every time somebody shares one of his things. Something Adrian has been struggling with is people grabbing his art and then putting it on T-shirts and stuff without his authorization or giving him any of the money that he deserves for drawing it. So I'm very careful about that with Kerry Callan. I try to make sure, like, hey, and y'all should go and check out his stuff because he's very funny and he's got some really great comics, as we talked about in that clip in there. I got a lot more clips I want to share with y'all. I'm going to collect a lot more of the Katie Lee. I think that's pretty much where I'm at. We've heard everything that I've saved except for the Katie Lee, and I want to play a couple of clips. First one will be when she surprised me, and I mentioned this before, with Will Ryan. Had no idea he was coming up on the call. I was just because I was talking to her about one of her books that she wrote with Will Ryan, and she managed to get Will Ryan on there. And like I said before, he'll turn the tables and start asking questions. And I really wish if he'd have gotten to come into Kansas City, I would have gladly given him the tour and taken him to Marceline because he had never gotten to go. But it was, golly, I don't think it was even a year after that he just suddenly passed away, because I guess he knew that he was sick, but of course he doesn't let on. He doesn't talk about it. But then cancer did take him. If I remember correctly, he did have a form of cancer that he just kind of kept it to himself. He kept to himself on a lot of things, which is why him popping up on a podcast is a rare thing. So I feel really blessed that I got a chance to speak with him because, I mean, Will Ryan was just amazing. Katie Lee's amazing, too. I mean,
wow. My next question, did they, in fact, tear down the old building that Ub and Walt and everybody used to work in?
The Laugh-O-Gram?
Building. Yeah.
The Laugh-O-Gram, it is, well, there's a group called Thank You, Walt Disney.
But they actually tore it down?
No, it's there. Oh, they put a new roof on it.
If you want to talk to Jeremy, you can talk to him another time. This is our half hour for him to ask us questions.
Oh, okay. Well, we can answer questions too, but I think this is of interest to the audience.
Yeah. Of course, most of my audience already knows a lot of this.
They already know this, okay.
But that's okay.
Well, I've only been your audience a couple of times. I was at the Marceline Parade once, thanks to you.
Oh, you were?
Sure.
For TuneFest?
Yeah, but I was just, I saw it on YouTube.
Oh, okay. So you haven't actually gotten to come out to Marceline to be a part of it?
No.
But I think Glenn Keane has.
You got to watch what you put up there. So vicariously enjoyed it through your efforts.
And, you know, Walt used to have parades all the time in those early black and whites, partly because you could repeat footage, you know. And partly, I think a lot of people did that, but it was fun to see a real parade, you know, in his real kind of hometown in a way.
Yeah, and it's fun to watch in a small town because the parade marches down one way, then turns around and comes back, and so you see the other side.
I didn't know that.
Oh, great!
Yeah. It surprised me the first time I went to it. I was like, "What are they doing? They're coming back."
Katie, have you ever been in a parade?
Have I been in one?
Yeah.
I maybe, but I did find a picture of myself as a little girl at the Hollywood parade when I was like 3.
Wow.
Watching it and not in it. We have a parade every.
You were 3? You were 3? You mean like Huey, Dewey, and Louie?
No.
Oh, okay. I'm just trying to clarify. You know,
no,
I like my butter clarified.
I don't know if I don't think I ever was, because I think I would remember being tired.
Wow. Yeah. I was in the Doodah parade once.
Oh, you were?
Yes. Oh, no, twice, actually. Yeah.
Zippity.
Okay.
Which is a crazy Pasadena parade we have. It's the alternate version of the Rose Parade.
And then, so the other thing that was really fun is finally Katie Lee came to a convention herself, and I got to meet her and her husband to talk about one of her books, which is about codependency. So it's a bit serious. It's got great artwork and everything, but it's not quite the humor, but it's trying to, maybe you're codependent and you don't realize it. And it's something you probably need some help with codependency. And I guess she struggled with that. I think she mentioned something like she was in a first marriage where she was a codependent. She was not in a good place. And it's basically a lot of mental health. So it's a lot more serious. But even though I don't have a codependency issue, I was still able to relate to some things I read in that book. So it was very, very good because I think everybody's going to find something and you're like, yeah, that's probably something I got to be careful about.
I'm back with Katie Lee again. Again. Well, at least it's again
back
for me.
Together again.
So this is going to go. I'm probably going to share this on both the Fandom Nexus and also all those of you who love Diz Radio. We have some new stuff because you've been on Diz Radio before too. Jonathan said, "Oh, I ever talked to her." I said, "Yeah, but have you talked to her about the Itty Book of Codependency?"
The Itty Bitty Book of Codependency. Yes, my new book, which has nothing to do with voiceover, cartoons, or anything.
Although it's got some cute art on the front.
Oh, it's a comic book.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, this is what you're looking at is the original, the first edition. Now the new ones that people can get on Amazon and at their favorite bookstore if they order it is a square, so it really looks like a coloring book, and it's great. The pictures are bigger, and it's a great size, and it's super fun.
So now you can color it in too.
Yes,
coloring book.
It's got illustrations, and it's very simple reading, right?
Yeah,
one sentence per page. For those of you who have like light reading,
yeah. So it's great for even for kids. And I'm sure adults will have fun with it too.
It's mainly kids. It's mainly for adults.
Oh, really?
But kids, yeah, it's not a kid's book.
Well, you let the kids color in the pictures and you just read it.
Well, a lot of adults like to color too.
There you go.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's just kind of fun. Ideas of, kind of to nudge you a little bit. Why don't you read some of the, what do you call them? Testimonials.
Oh, testimonials. Oh, is this on the front page?
Yeah,
totally solicited reviews by people who owe me. I like your friend's drawings. I had fun coloring the pictures. Mom, I couldn't put this book down because I promised I would read it. From Gretchen. I fail to see how this applies to me. Oh my goodness. I know plenty of friends who need this book and I'm going to borrow it from them when they're done reading it. Name with help. Now, is this legit? People wrote these for you, or just your sense of humor?
Well, most of them are legit that people wrote, but with a sense of humor.
Right.
Yes, because it is a humorous look at how our behavior sometimes is nonsensical and not helpful to ourselves. Yes.
Yeah, humor is a good way to do that because I bet some of this is like a hit in the head. We're like, oh, yeah, I'm kind of do that.
Exactly. And it's so much fun. Like some people, they can't relate. And other ones like you, they'll read. And I get the greatest joy about watching somebody look at a page and start laughing because we're really laughing at our own behavior.
Yeah.
And we're relating. And it's, it's a nice way of holding up a mirror to yourself without feeling too embarrassed.
Yeah, I have to laugh at myself because I'm just that weird. I am that guy in a nice professional job working in local TV that everybody knows my office because I have all my toys in there.
There you go.
And I have, of course, Star Wars posters. And, so, yeah, I'm the big kid in there, which has enabled some of my coworkers to do the same. Now I've got somebody across the hall in his office. He's got the Rocky III painting from the end of the movie. Now he's got his copy hanging that.
It makes the environment a lot more fun, right? I'm here to promote fun. Like at the Tell You Later show.
Yes.
Right? It's another fun way of just goofing off, but sharing some really good insight into we have a new motto. And if I can remember it, it's
what's the motto? I don't know. What's the motto with you? Yeah.
It's voiceover, pop culture, humor, and I don't know. I should have this memorized, right? It's my show, but it's not. What is it, Vinny? Anyway, in the meantime, voiceover, pop culture, and beyond. I got to say that a few times, right? But after Will passed away, Will Ryan, my buddy, who I started the show with, they're still doing it. And this month, actually, Phil Barron is on. We got Phil Barron, who was Will's original partner, Willio and Filio. And and Teddy Ruxpin. He's Teddy Ruxpin's voice. We got 3 or 4 parter with Phil. And it's really great. But it's so neat to meet you in person because I've only met you on the phone.
Yeah, on the phone. And I think we did do camera on Skype once. Most of the time it's like I call on the phone or everything. And
it's been a while.
Yes, it's been a little while.
Yeah, and you seem to be doing really well. It's so great to see you.
I seem that way, don't I?
You seem that way, at least, yes.
That's the image I prefer to put out there.
So, yeah, I mean, we there's a lot of. I'm so excited to be here in Kansas City.
Yeah. Is this your first time ever here?
Yeah, I've never been to Kansas City. This is an amazing con. I haven't had a chance to bop around here yet. I should have, because I always do that. I wait till it's too late. But we have a great table. I have Connie candles. I have some Adventures in Odyssey stuff.
Saw some of those out here.
I have a Hasbro Sheila. From Dungeons and Dragons.
Nice.
Yes, we got that. And Sunny Gummy Funko Pops that
Which
are
I brought mine with me.
certificated. Oh, good. You got yours with you. Excellent.
Yep.
So, I want people to check out the Itty Bitty Book of Codependency because that's new, and definitely the Tell You Later show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what's fun is like a lot of the people who, not realize it's all the same person doing these. I think this is kind of similar like years ago. Finding your website and you were labeled it the voice of your childhood.
Yes.
And I looked at all the work you'd done. I was like, she ain't kidding. I was like, since I was little bitty watching Muppet Babies, there you were.
Far out. That's cool.
Yeah. So, and I've always loved the Muppets. And Rolf he's probably number 4 because I still haven't ranked exactly where in the top 3 is Kermit, Fozzie, and Gonzo. Probably Gonzo because I'm probably more like him. I think Kermit is what we all esteem to. But we always end up, we're not that funny like Fozzie, or we're just kind of weird like Gonzo.
Right.
And I'm never quite fit in, so I'm more of the Gonzo, but we all try to be like Kermit. Sort of like in Star Trek. We all want to be Captain Kirk, but we probably fall into one of the other 2 weirdness of like Spockness. I thought we had people looking at some of yours. Okay.
I'm sitting next to Chip from, Chip from Beauty and the Beast, and he was also in Jumanji. His name's Bradley Pierce. I'm in very, very esteemed company here.
Yeah, you are.
So also a couple people from Land of the Lost. So there's great. And my buddy Jason Marzidan's behind me here. So.
I've never talked to him before. I'm going to have to go over there.
Say hi.
Yes. Maybe we can get him to record with me too. I don't know. We'll find out.
I'm sure he will.
Although Jonathan told me, he's been on the show before. I was like, yeah, but I've never talked to him.
Well, there you go.
So, and you never know. Sometimes, like the Celebworks Corner, I spent a lot of time over here last year because I was talking to Margaret Carey. If you've ever gotten to meet her.
Oh, yes, I have.
She
and
is
I've read
so
her
sweet.
book as well.
I've got the book inside. I haven't sat down and read it yet.
It's
I know
nice
it's
to read. Well, especially nice for me because she's from LA. I'm from LA. So there's a lot of familiar stuff in the book.
And she's just the sweetest person.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I got to interview her a long time ago. And I didn't realize she told me she's actually got this memory thing where sometimes, like by the next day, she's forgotten half of the stuff.
Well, what is she, 91 or something?
So I was like, I don't know. I got to spend a lot of time with her like years ago. I was like, I don't know if you'd remember me and all. She's like, no, I don't remember what I talked to yesterday.
That's right. So you could interview her all over again. You never know. She might say something different.
They had the actor who played the young Josh Baskin in Big here last year.
Oh, really?
I didn't realize he'd been in Seinfeld and all this stuff. And I had my friend who's a big Seinfeld fan was like, that episode. And he was like, oh my gosh. And he looks just the same.
Wow.
He's just taller. But you never know who you're going to run into. And I like these smaller areas where you're in the celebrity row, but not because you never know who you're going to meet. That you go and you look at what they've done. Like, this person helped raise me. So you're one of them people. You're like that third mom.
I'm so blessed. Yeah, it's my pleasure, my honor, and I'm just so thankful.
Yeah. All right. And so for anybody who doesn't know, hasn't recognized your voice. So, of course, Connie Kendall.
Connie Kendall
the
from
big one.
Adventures
Everybody's
in
got to know that
Odyssey,
one.
and we're celebrating our 1000th episode. August 1st, a big whoop-de-doo in Colorado Springs.
If I find out a way I can get myself there, I'm getting there.
I just heard, Paul McCusker's wife loves Comic-Cons, and she's volunteering here. She's at the green room today. And she told me they're going to decorate downtown Colorado Springs in like Odyssey theme. So that sounds pretty exciting. If that's true, that sounds awesome. So that's happening. And yes, I was Sunny Gummy on the Gummy Bears, Rolf the Dog and the Muppet Babies, Hunker Buttlefoot, a Darkwing Duck. I got new shows out right now, actually, on Adventures TV, which is a streaming, Answers.tv. Sorry,
Answers. I heard you talk about this on another show.
Lily's Lab. I'm Lily the dinosaur, where we ask questions and dig for answers. And let's see, and I'm working on some shows with Butch Hartman, who's here. The Garden Cartoon, he said my episode's up this month, one of them. I did a few characters, and then we're working on some other shows, and a new show that is hopefully getting shot. We just did I'm still doing all kinds of things. A lot of
keep 'em busy.
E-learning. People say, were you and my kids, homeschoolers hear me on Time for Learning. It's kind of fun. It's great to be recognized out in the wild.
You have a whole new generation growing up with you again.
Isn't that fun?
Yeah, my goodness. You're just going to have this legacy of all these people.
It's amazing. Who would have thought?
Yeah. Who would have thought, especially this early? Like, I was just listening to a Hanna-Barbera podcast that I think Chris Anthony Lanza, I think, is the one who mentioned it. So I went and I finally got a couple episodes in yesterday. And you were talking about something in the 70s, some weird one. I can't remember what it was now.
Pandemonium?
Yeah, I'd never heard of that before.
That was the 80s, too.
Oh, that was an 80s?
It was my first series I was cast in as a regular, yeah. And Greg Ehrbar is also on the Tell You Later show. I got to interview him, so...
Yeah, and there's something familiar about him, but I don't know where I know him from.
Well, a lot of things. Just we're Disney. He wrote a lot of stuff he used to work for Disney in Florida. He created the maps.
Oh, wow.
When you go, and he's also I guess when you drive into Florida, there's like a sound you can listen to when you're driving in your car. He's written many books and a lot of stuff at Disney. So, yeah, he was a writer for them.
I think I'm going to have to track him down now, too.
Yeah, I think you should. You should have him on your show for sure.
Yes.
He knows everything.
And soon he will know me. So then he'll know everybody he needs to know.
Well, if you need an introduction, I'll be happy to introduce you. Because he has a new book coming out, the Hanna-Barbera book.
Oh.
Yeah.
See, and it's that Hanna-Barbera is like that other one.
Well,
I've been chief meteorologist at the station I work at. I've had this discussion with him many times. But I say, okay, everybody talks about Mel Blanc. Mel Blanc's great, but they all forget about Dawes Butler. And I said, you watch anything Hanna-Barbera, you've heard Dawes Butler.
Right.
And he was just as versatile, I think. Just as talented.
Oh, yeah.
But he always was like, oh, you don't even like Mel Blanc. Because he's that type of guy. And I was like, no, I love Mel Blanc. But you got to check out Dawes Butler if you loved Yogi Bear and Huckleberry Hound.
And a lot of people were trained by Dawes because Dawes used to
That's
teach.
the other thing. I've never heard anybody tell me that Mel Blanc taught them anything. But Dawes Butler, everybody will credit him with helping them out.
Exactly.
It's like, that's
He's a very good
character.
guy.
Yeah. And I love Mel Blanc, but Dawes Butler, man,
Oh, it was really great talking with you.
It's nice finally to see you in person.
Yay!
Okay, everybody. And the book is The Itty Book of Codependency.
Itty bitty book.
Itty bitty.
Itty bitty book of codependency.
And it's a big deal,
and
despite being itty bitty.
It makes a great gift.
Yes, indeedy. And it's on Amazon?
Yeah, Amazon or bookstores or through my website if you want an autographed copy.
Okay, so now with all of our clips, finally I got everything in there. This is a long show, but I knew it was going to be because this is our 500 Spectacular. Do you have a particular favorite?
It should be.
Yes. Do you have a particular favorite episode, something that was most memorable to you, whether you were on it or not? Or?
Oh, golly, there's so many out there. But
that's what I was thinking. I had a hard time
the
picking.
time of year that it is. Oh, yeah. Well, but with this being the time of year it is, and considering where you started, those first few episodes where you talked with some of the older folks from church about their Christmas memories.
Wow. And that's digging way back there. And that was just because I was trying to get people to tap into their childhood. And I thought, well, Christmas is coming. And some of the people that I spoke with are no longer with us. So I'm so glad I have that audio. Because I remember one guy, and he was a sweetheart of a guy, but he passed away. I think I might have gotten to speak with... I think Ruth might have been with the late. That's a long time ago, and she's the one that actually made our wedding clothes for us. But she's passed away. So I'm so glad I have that audio of them. It's something I wish I'd have thought of. Like, there's people who have recordings. They'll sit there and they'll talk to their grandparents about their lives and get it all on tape, so they always have it and they can always hear their voice. And how I'm relating this in with podcasting is, if I had kids or grandkids to pass this on to, I feel like I've got this collection of my life for the last 12 years and 500 episodes that I can share. And if I want to traumatize myself, I can listen to it to myself. But no, the funny thing is I used to listen to every one of my episodes myself so I could critique myself and try to make changes, which Ryan Lefevre, who's like one of the voices of the Royals, listens to every ball game that he calls for that same reason. So he can listen to see if he's got any bad habits he's picking up. So that's how I've tried to learn to not and so much. And I've learned that I stutter a bit.
Well, I was just going to say similarly, how much ride audio have I shared with you over the years? And how much of that audio is my kids' little interjecting or sharing commentary about it.
Yes.
We even did a video that I've revisited lately of watching the trailer for.
I think it was a Star Wars movie.
It must have been The Last Jedi.
Yeah, it was a Star Wars movie.
Yeah.
I remember that.
And just seeing them that little brought a tear to my eye.
Yeah, they grow up so fast. And even just from knowing kids kids that I've helped teach in church that now they're grown up, and one of them's he's mostly blind, so we've given him a ride to church, but he's like I think 30 now, and it's like you were a little kid in our church, and even some other of the kids we used to teach in church that now they're married, now they have kids of their own.
Yeah,
a lot, and that's. A lot of that has happened over the course of this podcast. We're watching kids grow up, seeing myself get older, but still being a big kid.
We actually had that experience a couple of weeks ago. At a sad to say it was a funeral, but we got to see so many of the kids that we knew, when we were newlyweds, and just seeing how far those kids have come and what they've done with their lives is really incredible.
Yeah. So that's one of the blessings of this is, having it all this. That's like I've got history documented, and all the people I've gotten to meet through other podcasts and celebrities and hosts and co-hosts and stuff like that. All the people I've met. And then, of course, as I've mentioned, doing this is what gave me the confidence to go, especially after driving a school bus for 1 year. I went back to college. I got my degree. I started working in radio, working in television, and the growth that I had and the life change that was, even though right now I'm currently unemployed because the television station let me go, as I mentioned before, but it still has forever altered my life. And I might be back on the airwaves again someday. Who knows? And if I never am, at least I have this. I can come here every week and have some fun and share the fun with people. And I have my own little show. So I am not the biggest show on the internet. In fact, when we went off the pure Disney format, I lost a ton of people. But we have kind of homegrown, which is kind of how I started. So it's been a long ride, and we're going to continue to take this ride wherever this ride goes. Oh, this is Ride Audio. There we go.
Hey, as you say, we need to get lost
in an adventure, But I have a few things before we really say that and sign off. I do want to make sure. Now, granted, I don't have my Podgagement account anymore. He had to raise some prices on it. And with my current situation, I had to end my account. I also had to cancel my gym membership. A lot of things I've had to shut off being unemployed. But Podgagement, I still have an affiliate link. If you happen to have a podcast, and I think I have just a few more weeks. I get even around the world where my rankings are. And I'm very popular in Uzbekistan or some foreign, like there's people downloading it and countries I would never have thought of. So thanks for listening over there. And I'm probably saying countries wrong, but getting to see where I rank around the world is pretty fun. But Podgagement will do that for you if you go and check that out. That's Daniel J. Lewis's. By the way, the award-winning Daniel J. Lewis's nice program, and it'll get your reviews from all over the place. But it also means those of you who want to leave a review for the Fandom Nexus, which I haven't gotten a review in a very long time. I don't know what's going on. I think everybody who wanted a review has left it. But hey, if you've never reviewed us, go through, I guess, Apple Music, perhaps. Go through Apple, find ways. But I don't have I still have links, but I don't have the links through Podgagement anymore, where it was like lovethepodcast.com and it would pop up for the Fandom Nexus. That's not going to be available. But find a way. Do leave us a review for the show. And of course, we do want to thank, and of course, we do remind you to go to neverlandpodcast.com, home of the Neverland network of podcasts. And we do want to thank Karen Kennedy, Ricky Pope of Christian Nerds Unite, Darren Wilhite of the Wilhite and Wall Show, who helped me make the opening of this. Darren Wilhite is somebody I actually met. He is a syndicated radio host. When I was working in radio, which I was doing because I was podcasting, he would syndicate his shows, and I would have to call him if something went wrong and everything. And so I've gotten to know him and follow him on Facebook and everything. He shares a lot of funny stuff. But he helped me out with the intro, and I was like, I feel like I've gotten somewhere. But he used to be, I think, a local DJ, country stations, but now he's syndicated all across the country. So Darren Wilhite is an awesome dude. And and then, of course, we have our email address, podcast@neverlandpodcast.com. We are on X at Neverland PCast. We have on Facebook, there's most of the Fandom Nexus, which is our like page, which I don't get to interact with very much. But we also have the group under Neverland Podcast. where I put stuff pretty much over all the podcasts there because it's kind of a network page, but I get to interact a lot more in the group. So feel free to jump on there and interact. You can also join our Neverlanders, become a Lost Boy or Pixie, come up with a nickname and go to our website to do it. We have a Patreon. You'll find links for that on the website, but it's patreon.com/Neverland Podcast. No copyright infringement is intended, and copyright is held by the respective owners. Content is shared for review and commentary purposes under fair use license. Okay, there we go. I got all that out of the way. All right, well, thanks for coming back and hanging out with me again, Eric. This has been fun.
Hey, gladly. I'm glad my schedule allowed it.
And if we can get this more often with some more regular thing, because Emma, it's fun hosting with Heather. That's always fun having my wife on because I think we have a natural rapport. But the fact that we've been married for like 22 years, so I think it's fun when we're both together. Hopefully, y'all think it's fun when I get my wife on here and talk about stuff too. And then, of course, whenever Philip and I do stuff together, we've known each other since I was 7. So yeah, it's crazy stuff. So yeah, all the people I've gotten to have on to host with me is always fun. But yeah, getting to have regular time would be great. So, but yeah, thanks for coming back. I need to probably have Jesse come on and say hello sometime. That'd have been fun too.
Yeah.
Because he's kind of busy as a single dad though. So I don't know. His schedule is kind of a mess. So, but we've had a lot of great people that hosted with me through the years, and it's been a lot of fun. But until then, get lost
in an adventure.